Chapter 534. In the boring days, Li Sun finally received a decree from the imperial court. Just as Zhang Xiaobao had expected, the imperial court didn't have time to send people to Luzhou or even Yi province. At the same time, they didn't want to give up the newly discovered land. Whether it used to be Tang's land or not, it was said that there was gold and copper, and that the grain yield there was high. When they heard that the local people were all tribes, they angrily pointed out in the decree that Li Sun should seek justice for the people of Tang. Li Sun naturally didn't have to rush back to get his own land. According to reliable sources, the imperial court had been arguing with each other to collect taxes from merchants returning from overseas. Everyone wanted to put their own people in this important position. However, this was too difficult. The coastline was too long. If they really wanted to collect taxes, they needed the merchants to consciously stop at the relevant places. This was obviously impossible. Only the special products of Tang could be found, and there was no way to control the gold and copper. This problem was sent to Luzhou together with the decree for Li Sun. It meant to let the two experts of the Zhang family think of a way. After all, they had found another land. Wang Wan saw the unofficial handwritten letter written by the emperor. While admiring it, she asked Zhang Xiaobao, "Is there a way?" "Yes, there is. If it were any other time, there wouldn't be. It's simple here, but why should I tell them? My father doesn't care about the customs." Zhang Xiaobao said indifferently. Old Man Chang and Old Man Pai also thought of the same thing. They asked Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan to play a few games of billiards with them. After Zhang Xiaobao won consecutively without mercy, they changed the topic to control the customs. "Xiaobao, Cuckoo, I'll give you two a difficult problem today. Let's see if you can solve it. Say, there's a country. It's surrounded by plains, and there are many neighboring countries. Many merchants secretly transport goods from other countries. This country wants to collect taxes. What should we do?" Old Man Pai smiled as he looked at Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. Wang Wan and Zhang Xiaobao looked at each other and thought to themselves, "That's it. Grandpa Bai, I know. Buy our cement, build city walls, and surround the entire country. Merchants from other countries will be stopped." Wang Wan blinked her eyes and said with certainty what she had thought of. Zhang Xiaobao chimed in, "Grandpa Bai, I think that would be a waste of cement." Old Man Pai nodded and signaled for Zhang Xiaobao to continue. "Grandpa Bai, my idea is to send a large number of people to patrol on horseback. Since it's a plain, there should be a lot of grass, right? If there isn't, we'll plant it and eat it wherever we go." Zhang Xiaobao explained his idea. Old Man Pai and Old Man Chang were stunned. This was not the answer they wanted. Their eyes swept back and forth between Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. They were very suspicious that the two of them were deliberately speaking nonsense. The two of them were smart. It was impossible for them to say something as stupid as that. Then what if it's surrounded by the sea? Old Man Chang had to be more direct. "The sea? Then we'll use cement to build a sea wall. Make it tall and big, leaving only a few places for ships to dock." Wang Wan changed her idea slightly. "No, that would waste a lot of cement. My idea is..." "Your idea is to send countless ships to patrol. After all, there are fish in the sea. When the time comes, we'll just eat the fish. If there aren't any, we'll raise some fish, right?" Without waiting for Zhang Xiaobao to finish, Old Man Chang finished his sentence. Zhang Xiaobao nodded vigorously. You two, forget it. I'll tell you directly. Your family found another piece of land in Tang Dynasty. If a merchant goes there to transport goods, how will he collect taxes when he comes back? The place was found by your family. This problem needs to be solved by your family. Old Man Pai understood now. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan definitely knew the solution. They just didn't want to say it. In desperation, they found a reason. When he said this reason, even he felt embarrassed. It was a bit too much of a bully. As expected, Zhang Xiaobao was stunned and said faintly, "My family found another place, so we have to solve this problem." Then, if my family found another place's locals, Does that mean we have to educate them on behalf of the imperial court? There's no need to educate them. Think about it, your father is leaving soon. The next place hasn't been chosen yet. It's not easy. It's very likely that he will be sent to the capital to be a capital official. Old Man Pai's face turned even redder. How could he let others do the work of educating? When the time came, they might not know the Tang Dynasty's emperor anymore. In desperation, he began to use threats. After he finished speaking, he didn't dare to look at Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's pure eyes. Grandpa Bai, there are many capable people in the imperial court. Why do you have to get involved? The imperial court collects taxes. Aren't you afraid that the imperial court will use it for war? At that time, countless family members will lose their sons, fathers, and men at home. Zhang Xiaobao didn't have anything to gain. How could he say this out loud? Old Man Pai smacked his lips and said, "The surrounding countries can't be used for war yet. They're mainly used for disaster relief. The national treasury can't do that. We can't build roads even if we want to. Luzhou, on the other hand, has cement roads. They look more beautiful than the capital. There are seawalls and lighthouses. The capital's city walls are still made of mud." When Old Man Bai saw that his threats did not work, he began to complain about being poor. It was as though if the walls of the capital were not made of cement and the roads leading to various places were not made of cement, the Zhang family would be a sinner. After all, the Zhang family had built Luzhou so well. Zhang Xiaobao thought about it for a while and said, "Grandpa Bai, I'm actually worried that my father will return to the capital to do something. It's still too early, especially for Cuckoo's father. It's fine if his official position is just a title, but it's so low. When I came here with Cuckoo earlier, Cuckoo's father even said that he wanted to help the imperial court collect taxes. However, because his official position is too low, he can't submit a memorial." Old Man Chong and Old Man Pai understood that the Zhang family wanted to exchange conditions. They wanted Wang Wan's father to be promoted, but it was just a title. "Oh, is that so? That's really good for our Tang Dynasty. What's the name of an official?" "Wu Sanguan, lower grade 4. "What's his name again?" Old Man Pai was very smart. "General Zhuang Wu, right?" Old Man Chong said. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were satisfied. This way, Wang Wan's mother would also receive the title of a grade 4 noble lady. Zhang Xiaobao was not afraid that Old Man Pai would go back on his word. If there was a next time, he could forget about getting information from him. General Zhuang Wu? Then we have to strengthen the military. To strengthen our Tang Dynasty's martial arts, the general naturally has to lead the troops. Lead the troops to the newly discovered place to protect the merchants. When the time comes, put a few soldiers on each boat. I believe that the soldiers will be able to safely bring the merchants back to the designated safe place. Yes. Just send the soldiers and boats. Why didn't I think of that? Even the imperial court didn't think of this. It seems that they have set their sights on the Tang Dynasty. Good. Xiaobao and Cuckoo, don't worry. The appointment will be here soon. Old Man Pai finally reacted. Things were not as complicated as he thought. All the merchants who went there would definitely seek the protection of the local soldiers. As long as the soldiers were used to escort them, there was no need to worry. Even if the merchants wanted to do it themselves, it was impossible to keep the secret. Xiaobao, Cuckoo, how much do you think we should collect when the merchants come back? Old Man Pai casually asked another question. Since he had already mentioned one, another one would not make a difference. Zhang Xiaobao replied without thinking, "That depends on the goods. If it's gold or copper, we should collect as much tax as possible. If it's grain, not only should we not collect tax, we should also compensate them with copper or gold. In other words, if they bring back a portion of the copper and a portion of the grain, then it's very likely that the copper will not be taxed. We should encourage them to bring grain back. The grain in the Tang Dynasty is still a little insufficient." Old Man Chong and Old Man Pai nodded. Good idea. They could adjust it a little. That is, they should directly hand in the grain as the copper tax instead of letting the merchants sell it themselves. If they hand in grain, then it would be more cost-effective than directly handing in copper. This would allow the merchants to transport countless grains back to the Tang Dynasty. This was actually a discrimination and restriction against the merchants. Zhang Xiaobao could not and did not want to care. He just had to do his own thing. Both Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were very happy to get a higher official position for Wang Wan's father. Whoever was willing to be the tax collector could do it. Their father could not do it. It was the heart of the struggle and could easily cause trouble. When the two returned home, Li Sun was accompanying the 4 sleeping children in boredom. His eyes were not focused and he was in a daze. Seeing the two enter, he immediately went forward and said, "Xiaobao, why haven't they come back yet? Could they have been killed by the local people? Is it so easy to kill more than 1,000 people? There are also weapons and equipment. What's the hurry? Maybe they found something good again." Zhang Xiaobao was not worried that the 1,000 people would not come back. "How can I not be anxious? I am now the person in charge of this matter. I want to go and take a look." Li Sun was still thinking about the matter there. Zhang Xiaobao looked at his younger siblings. They were all sleeping very soundly. Occasionally, their little mouths would move as if they were drinking milk. He smiled and said, "Even if they come back, you can't go. If you go and come back, too much time will be wasted. It is very likely that my father will leave soon. The imperial court will probably let you take charge first. There are already people coming here. The moment my father leaves, it will be the time for the new provincial governor and the new person to replace you to come here. You have to go. While there is still time, you should make arrangements. Your fief is not as big as a province. It would be best if it was a good place. My father can also be the new provincial governor. So there is no chance this year." Li Sun sighed. Then, he became happy again. "Yes, you have to make arrangements. When the time comes, I will follow you and see how the new place will look like. Xiaobao, there is one more thing. The Ning family hasn't been fooled yet. Should we think of something else? There is no rush. We have to give them time to react. Let's start with the other provinces first. Let Qin province take a look. I believe they won't let go of this opportunity." Zhang Xiaobao was not worried at all. The mentality of a swindler was very important. Li Sun saw that the Zhang family was not worried, so he was relieved. He said, "Then what should we do now?" "I don't have anything to do. I am idle all day." "You don't have to worry about the matters on the mountain. Find me some work." "Isn't it easy if you want to work? I will find you one now. Help train divers and learn from little Tao." Zhang Xiaobao casually sent Li Sun away. Chapter 535. There were mulberries in summer, but there was no coolness in the woods. Wiping the sweat off one's face was also a sign of busy sowing. Because there were fewer people, the harvest and sowing in Qinzhou was later than in Luzhou. After the Ning family's land was sorted out by their own people, they had no choice but to send their people to other places to help. It was like pouring a cup of water on a burning cart of firewood. Ning Zhongze held a piece of information in his hand and read it over and over again. He felt uneasy. The steward stood respectfully at the side with his head lowered. Occasionally, he would look up at the old master, but he would quickly look away. Last time, the matter of using fish eggs to deceive people was investigated on him, even though he was not the one who came up with the idea and was not qualified to make the decision. This time, with the new information, he did not dare to get involved again. If it were not for the old master forbidding him to leave, he would have left long ago. Let whoever was willing to make the decision. He would not say anything even if he was asked. It was better to pretend that he did not exist. What do you think? Should we send someone to contact the Zhang family and rent the land to them? The steward could not avoid the question that he had been worried about. When he heard the old master's question, he replied respectfully, "Old master, I'm not sure." "Master, I'm not sure. I'll leave it to you to decide." Why are you not clear about the information you gave me? Tell me. You're the only one who can come up with ideas in this family. Ning Zhongzi put the piece of paper on the table and stared at the steward. At this moment, the steward felt like killing himself. He cursed the Ning family in his heart for not being considerate. Thinking of taking a step back and seeking stability, he said, "Old master, since you asked, I'll tell you. I think this matter is not easy to handle. If something goes wrong, the old master will be easily implicated." Not easy? What's not easy? It can't be that it's not easy just because you think about it, right? Ning Zhongzi had tasted the sweetness. He wanted to scheme against Zhang Zhong once, but he did not want to take the lead. He planned to let the steward say it like last time. If something went wrong, he would return to the family and have someone to help him. If the matter was settled, he would naturally reap the benefits. The steward was a little disappointed. In the past, the old master would not be like this. No matter what happened, he could solve it. But now, since Zhang Zhong came to Luzhou, the first thing he thought about when he did something wrong was how to push the blame to others. He had become so timid. This time, if he really spoke too much and something happened, then he wouldn't be able to continue being a steward. After some consideration, the butler revealed a troubled expression. "Master, I'm just wondering if the Zhang family will also encounter difficulties in other prefectures. What if they don't say anything and we send people over? By then, the Zhang family will have already collected enough land. Wouldn't that be a wasted trip? Why don't we wait for Zhang Zhong to find us first? Let's wait for them to come. If Zhang Zhong doesn't come, are we just going to ignore it? Your guts are getting smaller and smaller. What are you afraid of? Tell me what you're thinking." Ning Zhongzi looked very unhappy. He stared at the steward and said. The steward revealed a timid expression and forced a smile. "Master, I really can't think of any other way. If you have a better idea, I'll do as you say." "You let go of such a good opportunity. You sigh. Forget it, let's leave this matter to the family and let them talk. You go and do it. Don't forget to bring back a warrant. How's the other matter arranged by the family going?" Ning Zhongzi looked as if he expected better from the steward. After saying a few words, he finally didn't dare to make up his mind. He arranged the matter to the steward and asked about another matter. The steward heaved a sigh of relief. As long as he wasn't forced to express his opinion, it was fine. As for going to the family to ask others, it was just an errand. Seeing that the old master asked about another matter, he quickly replied, "Master, rest assured." "Rest assured, master. Everything has already been arranged. We'll start with the capital province." "Master, you're really thorough." This lowly one didn't think of starting with the other members of the Zhang family. "Zhang Zhong is very capable. We can't afford to offend him. Oh no, we should let him do as he pleases. However, we can't do the same for his people in Zhuangzi. He can't protect everyone. Our people in Duji province will deal with his villagers in Sanshui County first." "Brilliant. Master's idea is really brilliant." Although the steward said this, he had other thoughts in his mind. He really didn't know how to evaluate this family. Zhang Zhong was clearly in front of him and in Lu Zhou's presence, but the people in his family actually had ideas about his villagers. What was this? It was as if the old master had provoked someone, and the person he provoked didn't dare to deal with the old master. Instead, he secretly watched the people from the Ning family who were buying things on the street. When they weren't paying attention, he kicked them and ran away so that they couldn't be caught. Then, he became complacent and schemed against the Ning family. It was so embarrassing. He used the people from Duji province to deal with an ordinary chicken farmer from the Zhang family. Moreover, he didn't let anyone know and secretly did it. He hoped that it would be of some use. He could deal with a few more people from the Zhang family and make Zhang Zhong worry. This could be considered a scheme. Ning Zhongzi was satisfied. Wei Wei nodded and a smile appeared on her face. "Yes. Master, this is called getting rid of the branches first so that they can't take care of each other. How will Zhang Zhong know how powerful I am? When the Zhang family in Duji province is chased out, we'll continue to deal with their villagers in the capital. What do you think? Ah, Master, you mean the capital? That's not right. If something really happens in the capital, our people won't be able to withdraw. The steward was shocked. The capital wasn't like Duji province. This time, they were taking action in Hain County in Duji province, which was still some distance away from Luoyang. If too many people were alarmed, it would be easy for them to be discovered. You're just a coward. Forget it. We'll deal with one person. We'll talk about the future in the future. Go ask the Zhang family about the land. Ning Zhongzi suddenly realized that the Ning family couldn't be allowed to behave atrociously everywhere. Although he refused to admit it, he waved his hand and sent the steward away. A boat from Duji province only took 9 days to travel against the current to the capital. It didn't stop and went up the small river. The 3 men on the boat took turns to row the boat. Under a shed made of old canvas, a person lay motionless with his eyes closed. Brother Zhang, come, drink some water. We just need to stop in the capital and spend some money to find a doctor to take a good look at him. The older man held a bowl of water and came to the side of the person lying on the ground. He brought the water to his mouth and said worriedly, "Don't worry, big brother. It's just a broken bone that has already been connected. It's just that the cut on his leg is a little big and swollen. It'll be fine when we reach Huayuan County. Besides, the price of a doctor in the capital is too high. Big brother Zhang doesn't need to spend much money." The person lying there forced himself to stay awake, tilted his head, and drank a few mouthfuls of water. Sigh. The older man sighed. He knew that his brother lying on the ground didn't make things clear. How could the 3 of them have the money to see a doctor? Otherwise, they wouldn't need a smoked chicken seller to take care of them. Unfortunately, when they saw that someone was bullying them, they didn't dare to rush over to help. Those people all had knives and sticks in their hands. The 3 of them would only be beaten up if they went over. Brother, it's not that I want to scold you, but they said they want the prescription. So what if you give it to them? You almost lost your life. The older man also knew that business was difficult to do. The person lying there smiled bitterly and said, "Big brother, I don't have the prescription. Even if I did, I couldn't give it to them. If I gave it to them, they would still drive me away. It's already good that I didn't lose my life." The Ning family's restaurant also sells chicken. Ever since I went there, their white-cut chicken can't be sold at a good price. Don't worry, big brother. Wait until I recover, I'll go back and teach them a lesson. They're just the Ning family of Qinzhou. How dare they bully a small village owner like me? Haha, do they think that a village owner like me is easy to bully? I'm also a person with a master. I'll definitely pay them back 1,000 times for what they did today. As he spoke, the person lying on the ground pinched his thigh hard to lessen the pain. His leg was swollen to the size of his waist. Men are afraid of wearing boots. Women are afraid of wearing hats. Brother, how can your leg be healed when it's so swollen? Now that you know it was the Ning family who did it, don't think about anything else. You can't afford to offend them. We poor people can't afford to offend them. Brother, listen to me. Don't drag your master's family into this. I heard that the Ning family has an important official in Qinzhou. The older man couldn't bear to look at the swollen leg and shook his head. The person lying there, Wei Wei, shook her head. Big brother, it's not that I want to get revenge. I won't come here. How can my injury be healed? My money and things were stolen and my restaurant was smashed. I had no choice but to come back. As long as I come back, the master's family will deal with the people who beat me up. Big brother, don't worry. The Ning family of Qinzhou is just a provincial governor. We're both at the 4th rank and he's already in his 50s. Don't worry. Do they think that the Zhang family is a facade that they can pinch as they please? I'll have to trouble you, big brother. The family of 3 who can work have all come over. I'll leave sister-in-law alone at home to take care of our parents. I definitely won't let big brother come here for nothing. Why are you saying this? We've always received a lot of benefits from you. Not to mention other things, just the chicken buttocks without tendons were given to us by you. That's why doesn't lack meat to eat. She's our only grandson. Even my father always says that 4 generations live under one roof. Gwa-er's body is weak. Back then, she was afraid that she would die early. Ever since she met you, brother, Gwa-er has become much fatter. When you were beaten up, we were already sorry that we didn't rush up to help you. Please don't say anything else. Otherwise, our family will be too ashamed to face others. The older man's eyes turned red. He was worried, but he also hated himself for not rushing over to help. Just as the person lying on the ground was about to speak, a boat suddenly rushed over from upstream. The people on the boat casually glanced around and happened to see him. They immediately stopped the boat. The boat that was coming over suddenly stopped in the water, then turned around and quickly caught up with the person lying on the ground. One of the people on the boat looked at the person lying on the ground and asked, "Are you a farmer from Zhongjia Zhuangzi?" "Yes." The person lying on the ground pointed at a rice sprout embroidered on his chest and nodded in acknowledgement. "Quick! Send a signal. Immediately ask Huayuan Hospital to send someone here." After the people on the boat confirmed, they immediately gave the order. 2 of the other people on the boat quickly picked fireworks. Accompanied by the sound, 3 fireworks exploded in the sky almost at the same time. There was actually a pattern SOS. Less than 20 breaths after the fireworks here, 3 fireworks also rose into the sky and exploded in the distance upstream. After a while, another sound came from further away. Vaguely, the same pattern of SOS fireworks flew in the sky. "Take this medicine. I'll cut off the rotten flesh for you first. Bear with it. Wait until we reach the hospital. You must hold on. Who is so bold? Who dares to hurt the people of the Zhong family?" Later, the person who spoke on the boat jumped onto the boat. While feeding the person lying on the boat 2 pills, he stuffed a stick into the person's mouth. Then, he placed his small satchel on the table and took out a small porcelain bottle, as well as a knife wrapped in oil paper. The family of 3 who brought the person here watched the person cutting the flesh there. The person lying on the ground was in so much pain that he bit the stick hard. Sweat kept dripping down. "Okay, this is all I can do. We'll talk about the rest when we reach the hospital." The person took back the things. The wound on the patient's leg had been bandaged and medicine was applied. A cool smell could be smelled. Chapter 536. The father and sons from Haiyin County had been worried the entire way. They were afraid that Brother Zhang and Uncle Zhang, who usually took care of them, wouldn't make it. They were also afraid that the Ning family would chase after them. It wasn't until now that the 3 felt relieved. Although they didn't know which power the people on the boat belonged to, the continuous rise of fireworks indicated that they were passing on a message. As for where the message was sent, they didn't know. The person lying on the ground drank a few more mouthfuls of water and told the people who came that the father and sons had saved him. Only then did he relax and fall asleep. Once they reached this river, they would be home. Not to mention the Ning family, as long as they didn't really commit a crime, even if the imperial court sent people to catch them, they wouldn't be able to. There would be someone to help them deal with it. If there was anything, they should first treat their injuries. "Father, which family's young master is Uncle Zhang?" The eldest son on the boat quietly asked his father when he saw the boat next to him lift the person up and put him on the fast boat. "Don't guess blindly. How could a young master sell smoked chicken? Just follow them and you'll know. In a moment, if someone asks you something, just answer them honestly." The father tried his best to maintain a calm posture and not reveal the nervousness in his heart. However, when the boat upstream arrived in less than a quarter of an hour and also turned around to follow them, the father didn't dare to be so sure anymore. As soon as the new boat arrived, the previous boat sped up and left the father and son's boat behind to go against the current. The 4 people on the new boat had swords at their waists and bows on their backs. They were wearing the same tight clothes, so it was obvious that they were bailiffs. "Did the 3 of you send him back?" The bailiff in front swept his eyes over the 3 of them. Yes. Brother Zhang was injured and we didn't have extra money to treat him. We could only follow Brother Zhang's instructions and send him here." The father began to suspect that he had misspoken. Brother Zhang should be a young master from some family. Otherwise, how could the bailiff come here so quickly? "Get on the boat. Someone will take care of your boat." The bailiff didn't say much. He waved his hand and the three of them carefully swapped places on the bailiff's boat. When they saw the other bailiff jump onto their boat, the three of them knew that they wouldn't lose their boat. At this time, the three bailiffs on the boat looked at the direction of the wind. They actually set up a folded sail and rowed with all their might to catch up with the boat in front of them. When the yamen runner's boat was about to catch up to the boat in front, the three of them saw another boat coming down from upstream. After the same quick turn, it ran to the bow of the boat in front, hung a hook, raised a small sail, and moved the boat faster. 2 hours later, the boats that were sailing against the current had formed a fleet. Their sails were flapping, and their flags were fluttering in the wind. There was a fast boat with the same yamen runners leading the way. All the boats in the front had to move aside and give way to the main road. The three of them tried hard to guess who Brother Zhang, Uncle Zhang, was. They signaled back and forth with their eyes, wanting to ask but not daring to. Another hour passed, and a slightly larger boat came upstream. When it went down the river, it was very fast. It could be clearly seen that because of its fast speed, the bow of the boat was raised up from the water from time to time. When they were close enough, they directly floated over. A few people wearing white coats stood up with a few small boxes in their hands. "Brother, may I ask what those people are doing? They won't harm Brother Zhang, right?" The father was curious, so he plucked up the courage to ask the cold-faced bailiff next to him. After seeing the new boat close to the boat with the patient, the bailiff's expression finally became better. He exhaled and said to the father of the three of them, "Don't worry. Don't be afraid of people dying. They are doctors from the Tang First Medical Research Institute in Huayuan County. They are not slow." "Father, where is the Tang First Medical Research Institute?" the eldest son asked curiously. "It's the place behind the life-saving hospital, where the emperor personally wrote the signboard." The father suppressed the excitement in his heart and introduced it to his son. The life-saving hospital was actually called the Dai Hospital in Huayuan County by the common people. Whether it was in terms of skills or medical ethics, it was the best in Tang. Even the imperial doctors used in the imperial palace had to come here from time to communicate. If there were any difficult diseases in the imperial palace, they would even use the 800 miles emergency report to deliver the news. Whether in the eyes of the common people or the high officials and nobles, this hospital and the research institute behind it were the best in Tang. Many traveling doctors said that patients who needed to be prepared for their funeral could be saved by the Dai Hospital. Therefore, the common people gave this hospital the name of Life-Saving Hospital. The youngest son, who had been silent all this time, suddenly asked, "Are they not doctors of Life-Saving Hospital? Are they doctors sent by the research institute behind it?" This was a very important question. Yes, the doctors in the research institute have better medical skills. If they can't cure the patient because of their lack of medical skills, the Zhang family's anger is unimaginable. Who is so bold? Who dares to hurt the Zhang family? The yamen runner looked at the youngest son and replied. Then he asked with a gloomy face. "The Ning family of Qinzhou that does business in Haiyin County. The whole family is a big family. In Qinzhou, what they say is the law. They are very capable. Even the provincial governor is surnamed Ning." The eldest son was now afraid. He was afraid that the Ning family would take revenge on them. The yamen runner nodded. "Oh, so it's the provincial governor of Lower Province. It's okay. The provincial governor is not afraid." The father remembered what Brother Zhang said and became more curious. Now he knew that Brother Zhang was a villager in Zhuangzi. What a miraculous villager. He could actually mobilize more than a dozen ships. Not to mention the provincial governor of Lower Province. As long as he didn't do anything wrong, even the provincial governor of Upper Province in Yaozhou wouldn't dare to hurt the people of Zhangjia Zhuangzi. "I have to thank the three of you for your help. We are home now." The Yamen runner knew how protective the Zhang family was and what Zhang Zhong was doing. This area was not part of Huayuan, but Sanyuan County. He was transferred from Huayuan County to be the leader and just happened to be on patrol. Sanyuan was also a county in Yaozhou. The good things that Zhang Zhong had done for the people of Yaozhou were not forgotten. The Zhang family could be said to be unimpeded on the entire river. The three of them didn't know the power of the Zhang family in this area. They also didn't know how a villager could be so important. The only thing they knew was that if the Ning family dared to chase after them, they would never be able to go back. Looking at the boat that was being protected, the three of them were moved. They had learned a lot in this life. Villagers were usually people who had no other way to make a living. If they had the ability to survive, no one would be willing to be a villager. However, Brother Zhang, Uncle Zhang, was doing well as a villager. He could do business outside. When he came back injured, he could get so many boats to protect him. He even used the fireworks that were supposed to be used for emergencies. If they were the villager of Zhangjia Zhuangzi, they would be satisfied for the rest of their lives. At this time, the youngest son asked, "How did they know that someone was injured here?" "It's written on the color of the fireworks. This is the first time they've been used. When we arrive at the hospital in Huayuan County, the people from Sanshui County should have arrived. If someone asks you something, just tell them the truth. There's no need to be afraid of the Ning family. If there's really no other choice, just move your family members here." The Yamen runner was easy to talk to. If someone asked him, he would explain and comfort the three of them. Being a Yamen runner in Yaozhou was the most difficult and happiest thing to do. They had to train hard and help the people do many trivial things. They had to find a chicken, pry open a pig, build a house, and find a doctor when someone was sick. The people were used to looking for Yamen runners for trivial matters. Happiness came from their mood. If they were thirsty on the road, they could ask a random family for a bowl of water and they would be treated well. If a daughter was of age and wanted to get married, the first choice would be a Yamen runner. A villager was beaten. It was a very small matter. The people in Hain County didn't think much of it, and the people who beat him didn't think much of it. Only those who knew the Zhang family understood how serious this matter was. Song Jinggong found out about the situation 4 hours after the villager was sent to the hospital. The news was sent by pigeon. The Ning family can't deal with the old master over there, so they came here to bully the villager. How dare they? Hain County? Good. Someone, send a message. The circular game held around the capital will be postponed indefinitely in Duji province. Between the clouds and the water will buy a restaurant in Hain County. Let's see what the Ning family's signature dish is and cook the same dish as theirs. Stop the supply of tea leaves and seasonings in all the restaurants in Hain County. Send a team of guards between the clouds and the water to Hain County. Send them to Hain County on a fast boat. Protest and complain to the Yamen in Hain County. The tourist group will no longer accept people from Hain County. Tell all the merchants who have a business relationship with us that they don't want to buy anything from Hain County. The fleet will not stop in Hain County in the future. After learning about the situation, Song Jinggong passed down a series of orders. He immediately wrote a letter and asked someone to send it to Lu Zhou via pigeon. He asked the little young master to take action. 5 days. In just 5 days, many people learned about the power of the Zhang family. They imported the same specialty products as Hain County from other places and dumped them in the surrounding areas. All of a sudden, the local merchants in Hain County were unable to sell their goods. When the competition was stopped, many people who were prepared could only watch helplessly. After receiving the letter, the branch of Between the Clouds and the Water in Luoyang came to Hain County in just 3 days. They bought the restaurant and directly operated it at the cost of its production. When the supply of seasonings and tea leaves was stopped, all the restaurants in Hain County went bankrupt. The Yamen's tax was reduced again and again, and the Ministry of Justice's letter asking for accountability was sent to Hain County. After one method after another, people finally understood the status of the Zhang family as a village owner. They also knew what it meant to be swept away by lightning. The condemning poems and articles of the scholars in the surrounding prefectures appeared one after another. Even the girls who sang in the brothel were no exception. Hain County was under the jurisdiction of Hunan Prefecture, which was the eastern capital, Luoyang. After learning about the situation, the officials in Luoyang were dumbfounded. Some people who were good at calculating had already calculated that the Zhang family's action for a village owner would cost them at least 2,000 strings of cash. That was 2,000 strings of cash. A village owner could not earn that much money in his lifetime. However, Song Jinggong, who was in charge of the Zhang family, did not care about how much money he would lose. To the Zhang family, this was not a matter of money. They had only sent out guards from between the clouds and the water to protect the village, who were on the way. If they were close enough, the Zhang family could even send out Team Zero to protect the village. Song Jinggong wanted to use this opportunity to send a signal to everyone who was thinking about the Zhang family. The dignity of the Zhang family was not to be challenged. Even if it was a village owner who looked weak to others, they still had to treat him with respect and courtesy. Otherwise, the Zhang family would personally take action. Anyone who wanted to touch the Zhang family would have to be prepared to face the wrath of the Zhang family. After 5 days of comprehensive attacks, the Zhang family suddenly became famous. Countless officials were shocked, countless commoners were frightened, and countless village owners were envious. After the officials in Hain County reacted, they immediately sealed off the Ning family's restaurant in the county and arrested all of them in an attempt to quell the anger of the Zhang family. However, Song Jinggong was not moved at all. It was too late. What was the point of doing it earlier? Today, Hain County dared to not protect the Zhang family. If they let them go easily, Shanin County or Haiyang County would do the same tomorrow. He did not believe that the Ning family had no relationship with the local officials in the county. He did not believe that they did not know about the Ning family beating people. If they could not afford to offend the Ning family, could they afford to offend the Zhang family? Yes, Song Jinggong is really reassuring. He knows what we will do if we encounter them. He asked my father to write a memorial immediately and send it directly to the imperial court. He said to the imperial court that today's Zhang family is tomorrow's great Tang. Today, they protect the Zhang family from being bullied. Tomorrow, Lu Zhou's fleet will protect the commoners of Great Tang from being bullied. Yes, we are doing the same. The people of Great Tang are precious. No one can touch them. Even if they do something wrong, we have to send them back to Great Tang first. Pigeons spread news quickly. At this time, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan also knew about the situation in the capital. Wang Wan also clenched her small fist and waved it twice. Yes, that's right. We don't care how much money we lose. We can earn back money if we lose it. However, if we lose the people's hearts, then the Zhang family is finished. Dignity is more important than life, let alone money. Xiao Bao, the Ning family hasn't been fooled yet. Think of another way. If we don't beat the Ning family hard this time, the Ning family will be even more ambitious to deal with us. Alright, let's do it. Not only do we have to deal with the Ning family in Qin province, but we also have to deal with the people who are part of the Ning family. If we want to play, then let's play big. I want to let those who want to mess with the Zhang family know that the Zhang family is not a facade. Not just anyone can mess with it. Zhang Xiaobao knew that this was an opportunity. An opportunity to attack the Ning family without being restrained by the imperial court. After all, the Zhang family was the one who was wronged first, and it was under the circumstances that the local authorities didn't do anything about it. On the same day, a group of messengers rode on horses to the surrounding provincial capitals that were willing to rent to Lu Zhou's Chamber of Commerce. They wanted to convey a message to them. That was, any land that was rented to the Chamber of Commerce would be given a sum of money to build infrastructure and build roads. As long as they could see the roads when the time came, they would not care how much it cost to build the roads. They would leave a share for greed. Chapter 537. In the face of such a huge profit, the Ning family of Qin province made a move. They could not think of any negative consequences for renting out the land. They found Chao Harue and the other two who had just finished their hard work. They were the ones in charge of this matter. Zhang Zhong gave the matter of renting out the land as a joint production project. With this, it became a gimmick to encourage the local people to vigorously develop farming. Chao Harue and the other two thought that Zhang Zhong believed them. This was the result of their hard work in farming twice. They signed the documents with the surrounding provinces. When the Ning family came looking for them, the three of them did not think too much and immediately used their authority to rent 150,000 mu of land in Qin province. They still owed the Ning family money. Although they knew that the land was not good, it did not matter. The Zhang family had already said that they could rent any land they wanted. The money for the road construction was also given out. They did not care how much the Ning family could embezzle from it. None of the 150,000 mu of land was good. They were either the worst inferior land or the saline alkali soil. Lu Zhou's Chamber of Commerce acted swiftly. As soon as the land was rented, they would send people to plant cotton. Good land had a lot of cotton, but inferior land could still produce cotton. Even the saline alkali soil could be used to plant cotton. It was just a matter of how much cotton could be produced. The Ning family was waiting for an opportunity like this. The agreement they signed with Lu Zhou's Chamber of Commerce stated that they were inferior land. However, in the account book of the province, they were planning for an intermediate land. When they saw the people from the Chamber of Commerce going to plant cotton, they could not help but take action. They had not received any news that their property in He'an County was being attacked. They wrote a report of impeachment against Zhang Zhong and sent it to the Chamber of Commerce via an official courier. The reason was simple. No matter how good the cotton-padded clothes made by Daisy were, or how practical the yarn was, they still occupied the land used to grow food. The Ning family had specially arranged a banquet for this matter. Without the help of the pigeons, they had no idea that their family's businesses in Great Tang were being attacked. Zhang Xiaobao wanted to let the people who wanted to deal with the Zhang family know that they should directly deal with whoever they wanted to deal with and not use the Zhang family's village as an opening. This time, he was determined to make a loss. Even if it was several times the loss, he was determined to completely destroy the Ning family. 10 days after the Ning family's letter was sent out, the cotton growers had already asked the local people to plant cotton around the rented fields. The biggest advantage here was that there was no need to consider too many seasonal factors. As long as they were planting, there was basically no problem at all. Although the yield might be affected, it would definitely not be a complete loss. If it was Hainan Island, it would be even better. If they had the ability to shorten the maturity time of the crops, it would not be a problem for them to grow 10 crops in a year. After planting the cotton as the wall, the people of the Chamber of Commerce no longer continued to plant cotton. Instead, they planted soybeans in the middle of the wall. Although the rented land was not good, it was still land after all, even if there was a lot of saline alkali soil. Zhang Xiaobao did not expect to have a big harvest in the first few years, let alone make money. In fact, in the first 2 or 3 years, he had been constantly filling in money. Old Man Chong and Old Man Pai, who had been worried about the Zhang family, were finally relieved when they found out that soybeans were planted in the wall. So that's how it is. They're actually planting soybeans. No wonder they dared to rent the alkali soil. As long as it's not too serious, the soybeans won't die. It seems that all of this is a preparation to deal with the Ning family. The Ning family has probably already written an impeachment report. When the higher-ups send someone to investigate, the Ning family will be in trouble. Old Man Chong was very clear about the role of soybeans. Many people cultivated their own land. When the land was not good, they would casually plant some soybeans. It was better than wheat or rice, and they did not have to worry about it. That's right. The Ning family has no right to casually impeach others. Now, everyone knows that the Ning family has always disliked Zhang Zhong. I guess Zhang Zhong can no longer be the provincial governor. The people sent by the imperial court to investigate will arrive in the second half of the year when the taxes are paid. How much can Lu Zhou pay this year? How much can he pay? How much can he pay in Qinzhou? Comparing the two cases, not to mention that Zhang Zhong did not do anything wrong, even if he did, the imperial court would pretend that they did not see it. If he did not do anything wrong, he would need at least 3 years to be a county magistrate. Zhang Zhong has only been here for a little more than a year, not even 2 years. Lu Zhou is not like before. He has started to make a lot of money. Many people are racking their brains to get to Lu Zhou. 6 magistrates, 1 provincial governor, 1 military registrar. No matter who wants to get them, they have to wait until Zhang Zhong leaves. In order to make Zhang Zhong give up his position, how many people do you think are willing to help Zhang Zhong deal with Ning Zhongzi? Old Man Pai knew about politics. The Zhang family knew that it was impossible for them to stay for 3 years no matter what. That was why they kept investing to strengthen their position in the Chamber of Commerce. Before they left, they just happened to get rid of the Ning family. A family without an official position could only rely on business to wait for a chance to make a comeback. Unfortunately, their business was also affected by the Zhang family. If it was just the Zhang family's business between the clouds and the water and the sea and clouds here, the Zhang family might not be able to win against the Ning family. However, the Zhang family had joined forces with many other big businessmen to attack one person. In addition, the Zhang family had divided the benefits from the sandbox game, and the imperial court valued the Zhang family. The Zhang family had all the advantages, including the right time, the right place, and the right people. Not to mention the Ning family, even the aristocratic families in the capital could not compete with them alone. When he thought about this, Old Man Pai sighed with emotion. The Ning family has been in Lingnan for a long time. Do they really think that no one can deal with them? Compared to their stability, the Zhang family has been growing up in the midst of other people's schemes since Zhuangzi. One is safe, one is dangerous. It is easy to see who is better. That's right. The most praiseworthy thing is that when the Zhang family is dealing with other people, they have never stopped trying to improve the lives of the local people. While doing practical things, they have also schemed against others. They have never written memorials to complain about how they were wronged, and they have never urged the imperial court to send out military equipment or food for disaster relief. They take care of everything themselves, and they can even bring a lot of benefits to the imperial court. No matter who it is, they will feel comfortable using this kind of person. However, I don't understand why the Zhang family is renting land in another province for 50 years. They are also growing beans and they are losing money every year. Are they doing this just to deal with the Ning family? When Old Man Chong agreed with Old Man Pai, he had an even bigger doubt in his heart. Old Man Pai also couldn't understand what the Zhang family was planning. If it were anyone else, he would also think that they were losing money every year. However, it seemed impossible for the Zhang family. This wasn't the first time that he had experienced the Zhang family's ability to make money. In the past, he had seen the Zhang family's plans. Every time they made a deal, they would make a lot of money. Just when people thought that they were going to lose money, they would make a lot of money in the end. While Old Man Pai and Old Man Chong were racking their brains to figure out how to make money, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were busy designing rooms for their younger brothers and sisters. The room that the younger brothers and sisters were living in was a bit big and too empty. They had to send more maidservants to accompany them. Especially at night, they couldn't put out the candles. Otherwise, when the babies woke up and started crying, they would have to spend a lot of time coaxing them. The crib was leaning against the corner of the room, and there was a circle of cloth dolls around it. Wang Wan deliberately used other people's children as an experiment. She connected the 2 rooms and placed a crib in the middle of the room. She didn't light the candles at night. As a result, when the baby woke up in the middle of the night, he cried for a full hour until his mother held him in her arms and fed him milk. Only then did he fall asleep peacefully. After changing the babies several times, the results were the same. Wang Wan finally believed Zhang Xiaobao's words. What children were most afraid of was darkness and loneliness. Of course, her younger brothers and sisters couldn't be treated like that. When they were placed in a corner, the room was always lit. There were also maidservants guarding them. When they woke up, they only cried a little. Sometimes, they didn't even cry. They would open their eyes wide and look curiously. They would even giggle. They would be wrapped in cotton blankets. When they slept, they would appear to be very peaceful. It's really amazing, Wang Wan said to Zhang Xiaobao when she thought of the experiment when she was drawing on the paper. What's so amazing about it? It's human nature. Not to mention children, even if it were an adult, if they were placed on a bed in an empty room, they wouldn't be able to bear it if they didn't have a strong enough mental fortitude. The slope of your room is a little bigger. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan each had their own division of labor. The place Wang Wan designed for her younger brothers and sisters to exercise was not like the one she and Zhang Xiaobao had when they were more than 10 months old. It was a slope, and a woolen blanket was placed on top of it for her younger brothers and sisters to climb up or roll down from it. It was a very good exercise method. Zhang Xiaobao, on the other hand, tried his best to create an infinitely large playground in the limited space. He built a low partition with wooden boards at a height of 1 meter. There were a total of 3 levels. Each level had at least 4 gentle slopes that could be used to go up and down, so that the younger brothers and sisters could climb up and down. Each level had many interconnected forks, just like the passage in front of Zhuangzi that was made with piles of straw. However, this time, there was no passage. There were small spaces, and in each space, there were toys that wouldn't hurt the younger brothers and sisters. When the time came, they would let them climb up and down to play. At each entrance, there would be bells that would ring when touched to cultivate the younger brothers' and sisters' sense of direction. In many places, there were also doors that could be opened, and glass would be used to block them. It would be transparent, and it would also be convenient for people to clean up the younger brothers and sisters. If it weren't for their own younger brothers and sisters, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan wouldn't have bothered to do this. When the time came, such a house would be sent to the ship. Although the place was small, the craftsmanship was very refined. Just this house for the younger brothers and sisters to play in cost no less than 1,000 strings of coins. The carpets inside were all Western region cashmere carpets, and they had to ensure that the humidity was high. The toys made of glass and cotton were not expensive, and there were also all kinds of things made of fish glue that could be used to tear things apart. The world was so big that only Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's younger brothers and sisters could enjoy it. Even the children in the imperial palace couldn't expect to have such a good combination of play and exercise. The 4 little guys didn't know that from the time they were born, they had already been doted on by thousands of people. What Zhang Xiaobao was worried about now was how to create a space in the house that could be moved back and forth. It had to be able to move up and down, left and right, back and forth in small amounts. It was simple to move, but no matter how it moved, there would be a situation in the end, and that was that it would be separated from the place where it was connected by a certain distance. If it was separated, it would be easy to pinch the younger brothers and sisters. Wang Wan had designed the general framework, and also drew the place where the ocean ball was. She turned her head and saw that Zhang Xiaobao was holding his chin and worrying. She went over and saw the place where the house was supposed to move. After thinking for a while, she said, "Just hang the place where the house is supposed to move, 1 inch above the ground, and use a cloth to block it. Block it loosely, and the cloth won't be damaged when it moves. Make the same slope for them, and use a loose cloth to connect it. They can climb up along the cloth. Are you making this as a cradle? It's not bad. Add a few short pillows on top, and they can fall asleep when they are tired." "What cradle? I'm afraid that they will get seasick. While there is still some time, let's make it first and let them get used to the process of moving while playing. It's about time, let's quickly find someone to do it." Zhang Xiaobao drew a trampoline at the side, and made the space on top bigger, using beast tendons to weave it. Following Zhang Xiaobao's orders, the craftsmen used all their skills and used the best mahogany as the base. After 4 days, a house that was 12 feet high, 3 feet wide, and 4 feet long was built. From the outside, except for the glass part, the rest of the house was relatively simple. However, if an adult could get in, they would know how gorgeous the interior was. Every part of the house was protected, except for velvet and satin, and each part had its own function. If one of the parts was taken out to sell, it would be worth dozens of strings of coins. Jiang Wang clan was stunned when she saw the house. Didn't Xiao Bao and Cuckoo say that they were going to make a smaller house called a space for their younger brothers and sisters? How was it small? It was bigger than the houses that ordinary people lived in. It was just divided into several levels, and there was even a small swimming pool inside. Husband, is it too big? Jiang Wang clan pulled Zhang Zhong to look at the house together. It's not big after divided into several levels. Zhang Zhong gestured with his hand. Husband, this house cost more than 1,000 strings of coins just to buy the cashmere carpet, and that's not including our own glass, mirrors, and all kinds of gadgets. Aren't we spoiling them too much? Jiang Wang clan calculated the price of the glass, mirrors, and other things, and came up with a rough figure. They could buy it with 10,000 strings of coins. If they didn't include the design fee that Xiao Bao and Cuckoo said, 10,000 strings of coins would definitely not be considered expensive by the aristocratic families or the palace. If they included the most difficult design fee, it was estimated that it would cost at least 15,000 strings of coins. Before the 4 little guys were born, they specially made a delivery room, and after they were born, they made a house for them. They were only 3 months old, and the money spent on them was already more than 30,000 strings of coins. Even the emperor's son didn't spend so much money when he was 3 months old, right? This didn't include the various precious medicines prepared for them, the full-time medical doctor who was on call 24 hours a day, the clothes made for them, the cows raised for them, and other auxiliary things. According to the calculation method of the son and daughter-in-law, the amount of manpower used in a certain aspect was equal to the value that this manpower could create in the outside world. Then, how much was the 8 5-star ranked maidservants worth? They surrounded the little guys all day long, and according to the value created, it was a lot more. Zhang Zhong narrowed his eyes and nodded, saying, I'm relieved. This means that Xiao Bao and Cuckoo are good to their younger brothers and sisters. Today, they are willing to use tens of thousands of strings of coins to make things for their younger brothers and sisters. In the future, they won't care about giving hundreds of thousands of strings of coins to their younger brothers and sisters, so they won't fight for the family property. That's true, but I'm afraid that before the 4 kids are old enough to fight for the family property, Xiao Bao and Cuckoo will have already spent hundreds of thousands of strings of coins on them. If the 4 kids are uncomfortable on the boat, I guess Xiao Bao and Cuckoo will specially make a big boat for them. There's nothing that Xiao Bao and Cuckoo can't do. The Jiang Wang clan was really distressed about the money. She never thought that her son and daughter-in-law would build such a small space house for their younger brothers and sisters. It turned out that the small space referred to the space inside, and not the overall space outside. Zhang Zhong didn't care how much money was spent, as long as Xiao Bao and Cuckoo cared about their younger brothers and sisters. He comforted his wife, the cost is not high. It's not like you don't know glass. You can easily make it by burning some stones. So what if they make a boat? Which eldest son or eldest daughter can treat their younger brothers and sisters like this? My family can. Isn't it just money? When the rented land is better, we can earn more money. Who is as calculative as our Xiao Bao and Cuckoo? So what if it's saline alkali soil? The serious areas should be washed twice with water, and the less serious areas should be planted with beans. When the time comes, the beans should be left to rot in the field. After 2 or 3 years, the bad areas should be better. Then, with all kinds of fertilizers, the important role of the white fold beans will be known by the imperial court. No one will say anything about planting them in large quantities. Such a long-term plan, how can ordinary people think of it? When Zhang Zhong said these words, he was very proud. When others thought that the Chamber of Commerce was losing money, he also thought so at first. Later, he couldn't help but call his son and daughter-in-law to his side to ask. Only then did he know about their long-term plans. As for whether they had other plans in the future, if his son didn't say anything, he couldn't ask either. When the two were talking, the craftsman brought something over. A wheel made of stainless steel was wrapped with a thick layer of fish glue mixed with hemp and tree bark called fiber. A half-inch thick iron plate was fastened together. Zhang Zhong and Jiang Wang clan knew that this was a shock absorber. It was very difficult to make, mainly because that kind of iron was hard to find. Just this little thing alone cost a few hundred strings of coins. On top of the axle of the wheel, there was also a device for blowing wind between the clouds and the water. The front part was left to be pulled by a horse. Needless to say, they would be able to move around in this house in the future. In addition to the small stainless steel wheel that could be pushed by people, there was also a big wheel with a carriage bar. The craftsman greeted Zhang Zhong and his wife and ran to the side of the house to get busy. When they were installing the wheel, they spread another kind of gum in the cracks of the house. Then, they put a pig's bubble on the top and wrapped it with a layer of leather. Then, they nailed a fold to the four eaves of the house and fixed a steel bar with a small wheel on the fold to follow the pattern of the house. "What are you doing?" Zhang Zhong couldn't think of the function of these things. In reply to Master, the young master and young lady are worried that if the house falls, it will hurt the young master and young lady inside, so they use the fold to fix the steel bar. As long as the house falls, the steel bar will open and hold the house. The pig's bubble on the top is to prevent the house from falling into the water, so it is coated with gum to seal it. Even if the house falls in, there is no need to worry about leakage. The wheel is naturally easy to move, and with the shock absorber iron plate, the young master and young lady won't feel uncomfortable inside. The craftsman in the inner courtyard smiled and introduced the various functions. In fact, he was very envious of the young master and young lady. They were lucky to be born in a good family and have a house to play in. Zhang Zhong nodded. He also felt that Xiao Bao and Cuckoo had done a good job. They had considered everything that could be considered. However, he thought of something and asked, "If the air inside is used up, won't the children suffocate to death?" "Ah, used up? Master, how long will it take for the air to be used up? If such a big house is used up, the young master and young lady will suffocate to death. The servants of the Zhang family and Wang family won't need to live anymore. The people of the vigorous protection team will commit suicide. The 4 children won't suffocate to death even if they stay in there for 10 days. If they can't be rescued, they will starve to death first." In fact, the craftsman's leader had thought of this before. He even asked the young master and young lady. However, the young master said, "Is there no one to take care of my younger siblings? Will the house fall into the water by itself? Will the rescue take half a month? Then the people of the Zhang family and Wang family will die first. The gods will be the first to die." That's right. With the capability of the Vigorous Protection Team 0, if they can't save the children, then the existence of the Zhang family and Wang family is meaningless. Zhang Zhong's face turned red. He felt that his question was too stupid. How could such a thing happen? Besides, this house was made of wood. There was nothing heavy in it and it was sealed well. If it fell into the water, it would float on the water. It could be used as a boat. How could there be an accident? After the craftsman's leader answered this question, he asked someone to bring in a cross-shaped frame made of stainless steel. He measured it, as if he was going to put it inside. This time, before Zhang Zhong asked, he directly said, "Master, this is to be put in the house. When the time comes, a strong string will be used to pull out the net. The walls inside will be thickened with cotton. There will be a separate net connected to the frame in each room. No matter which end of the frame hits the ground first, it won't break." The young master and young lady said that the frame must be intact even if they fall from a height of 20 feet. When the time comes, no matter which room the young master and young lady play in, they won't fall to death. Chapter 538. Looking at the 3-story house in front of them, the Zhang Wang clan and Zhang Zhong were speechless for a moment. With all kinds of protective measures, it could no longer be described as luxurious. It was simply extravagant. "Go, call Xiao Bao and Cuckoo over." Zhang Zhong was a little worried. He was not afraid that when the children grew up, they would compete with each other for the family property. The 2 older children did not bother to compete. They had the ability to earn more money, but the 4 children were not qualified to compete. Whether it was the ability to earn money or the calculation of each other, they were not as good as the older children. He was worried that Xiao Bao and Cuckoo would spoil their younger siblings too much. They were only 3 months old, and the amount of money spent on them was more than what most people could earn in their lifetime. When they grew up and learned how to spend money, he would pluck the stars even if he wanted to pluck the stars. No, definitely not. If the 4 hedonistic sons of rich parents like this, the Zhang Wang clan would be finished. He had to have a good talk with his son and daughter-in-law. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan indeed had nothing to do. All kinds of plans had been made, and they were just waiting for things to come slowly. At this time, they were making clothes for their younger siblings. They had cotton and good bamboo paper. At first, the two of them discussed making diapers, but later, they felt that pure cotton diapers were better. Only lazy people would use diapers, not to mention that their skills were not up to par. Wang Wan pushed Zhang Xiaobao away to study the rubber band. She herself made some sanitary pads for the women in the family. Zhang Xiaobao resisted a little and told Wang Wan that all female products were designed and made by men. In the end, he was still driven out. Without rubber, Zhang Xiaobao used animal tendons to make loose clothes for his younger siblings. Especially after 6 months, when they moved to a new place, they would wear pajamas when the weather was cold. Not only did they have to be comfortable, they also had to draw patterns on them. They also had to design small pockets on the outer clothes to practice the flexibility of their fingers. When the people sent by Zhang Zhong found the two of them, Zhang Xiaobao had already drawn the design of the socks by himself. The design was made with the thinnest animal tendons mixed with cotton thread. The main reason was that Zhang Xiaobao did not know how to make the socks elastic. When Wang Wan and Zhang Xiaobao arrived in front of the house, each of them was holding a large design blueprint. Xiaobao, Cuckoo, tell mother, how much did this house cost? Jiang Wang Clan sat on a chair and hugged her son and daughter-in-law. The two children were more than 8 years old, but they looked like 12 or 13 years old people. No matter who saw them, they would like them. Mother, it didn't cost much. This house is not for playing. If you just want to play, you can just make some toys. It can also be used to help your younger siblings exercise. You can use it to flip, climb, and sit. You can put all kinds of small objects inside and let your younger siblings familiarize themselves with the layout. Mother, don't worry. Cuckoo and I will not spoil our younger siblings. We must let them know what it means to suffer. We must let them know that life is not easy. At the same time, we must cultivate their noble temperament. Xiao Bao understood when he heard his mother's words. He quickly promised. Jiang Wang Clan nodded with satisfaction. She kissed her son and daughter-in-law's face. When she saw the things in their arms, she asked curiously, Xiao Bao, Cuckoo, what are these? Cuckoo opened the blueprint and explained, nothing, just clothes. They need to be worn to absorb sweat and keep warm. They also need to be comfortable cotton clothes. It takes a little effort to make them. Xiao Bao has a wide rubber band. It doesn't need to be tied or buckled. It can be put on in one set. It's very convenient and you don't have to worry about leaving marks. This is a belly band and socks. The belly band is simple, it just needs to be tied. The socks can be worn on the feet to prevent catching a cold. There are also cloth shoes with multi-layer soles. This is a small bell. It's made for the younger siblings. They need to know the difference between men and women since they were young. They need to be able to blow a whistle with different tones to train their lung capacity. This is a special mud with oil added. We need to get someone to look for it carefully. When the younger siblings are a few months older, we'll let them play with the mud. It must not be poisoned. Even if they eat it, they can't let anything happen to them. This is... Jiang Wang Clan was silent as she listened. Xiao Bao just said that he wouldn't spoil them. Now, he took out all kinds of things that she had never heard of. If this wasn't spoiling them, then what was? Nonsense. If we let them enjoy from a young age, how will they know the hardships of the common people when they grow up? Zhong Zhong's face darkened. He felt that this was too much. It was fine if his children lived a better life, but if Xiao Bao and Cuckoo did what they did, then it wouldn't be as simple as just a little better life. Everything seemed normal, but if one thought about it carefully, they would realize that none of them were simple. Just like what his son and daughter-in-law said, the details determined success or failure. Starting from a small place, the 4 children who didn't know any better were already enjoying things that even the children in the palace couldn't get. How could this be? Zhang Xiaobao refuted his father for the first time. Father, how are you messing around? This is called protection. Everything can make the younger siblings more comfortable. The hardships of the common people don't need to be told, but the younger siblings also have to suffer. When they grow up, we'll bring them to live in a normal family more often. The style of an aristocratic family isn't a car made of gold. That's called a nouveau riche. Nurturing them in detail is a real aristocratic family. When the younger siblings grow up, even if the clothes they wear are a little old and the food they eat is a little simpler, the materials and design of the clothes must not be bad. Father, it's not like you don't know that children die young easily. How can you not be careful? So what if they're the children of the royal family? Don't look at the royal family, they also know how to take care of children. I won't allow my younger siblings to be in danger because of some details that they can't take care of. The way people take care of children nowadays is too backward. Wang Wan also nodded vigorously at the side. It was normal for children to die young nowadays. The family could accept the death of 2 out of 5 children, but it was absolutely unacceptable for her and Zhang Xiaobao. When she and Zhang Xiaobao were still young, the probability of 2 out of 5 children dying was unacceptable, let alone 2 out of 5 children dying. The people here were used to it, but she and Xiaobao couldn't get used to it. If one day, because the two of them didn't do their best, for children died, the pain was unimaginable. Jiang Wang clan saw that her son and daughter-in-law were serious, and suddenly thought of something else. She said to Zhang Zhong, "Husband, don't worry about it. Xiao Bao and Cuckoo naturally have their reasons for doing things. For example, cement and glass." When she spoke, Jiang Wang clan winked at Zhang Zhong. Zhang Zhong was stunned for a moment, and suddenly shivered. He didn't mention whether or not they were used to it. He thought of his son and daughter-in-law's other identity. Little Fairy. Little Fairy insisted on making things for the 4 children. It was very likely that she knew that the 4 children would be in danger. If he stopped her? Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan didn't know about this. Seeing that the two of them didn't object, they were relieved and went back to study the diet. The diet was more challenging. They had to ensure that there was enough protein, calcium and iodine, and the ratio of fine grains and coarse food had to be adjusted. Xiaobao, protein is easy. Lean meat, fish, eggs, and milk are all the children's favorite. You have to put a little less oil. The main thing is vegetables. How can they be willing to eat vegetables? Wang Wan began to worry when she thought of the food. In this era, it was a blessing not to have to worry about eating meat, but it was not good to eat meat all the time. Zhang Xiaobao had already considered this problem. It's easy. Tell them a story. In the story, teach them to eat vegetables. Also, eat pancakes and make soup. If they don't drink soup, they won't be able to eat pancakes. Make salted vegetables. It's still too early. They can't eat them now. In the future, when adults eat, let them watch at the side and get used to eating meat and vegetables. Also, make coarse grains. If we can find corn, sweet potatoes, and potatoes, we can make snacks for them. Zhang Xiaobao added. That won't do. Fried fries can easily make people sick. When I was young, Grandpa Dean taught me a way to eat it. It is to set up a stove in the house in winter with a chimney. Put a wire mesh on top, make a piece of noodles or cut potato slices, and roast them directly on top. It's delicious. You can eat it when you're hungry. I'll roast 2 balls of noodles for you to try later. I don't want to eat it. You were poor when you were young. Everything is delicious. I'm going to design a set of underwear. Do you think there is a market? Seeing that the food problem was solved, Wang Wan changed the topic and began to look for new ways to make money. Zhang Xiaobao immediately nodded. Yes, there is a market, a high-end market. Look at the things people wear now. No matter how many styles they learn from other places, they can't compare to what we have in our time. First, make the normal ones and give them to others for free. Later, we will make the sexy ones. You men are all bad. You only think about that kind of thing in your head. Wang Wan curled her lips. Aren't we talking about business? Why are we talking about gender discrimination? Men are particular about dying for those who understand them. Women are particular about dressing up for those who love them. Only male peacocks spread their tails, okay? Yes, so they can only be eaten. Since when do male peacocks need to spread their tails? Let's do it and sell it to the brothels first. Zhang Xiaobao found that if he continued to talk about it, he would enter the realm of philosophy. Okay, let's give it to the women in the brothels first. It's very ironic that what women like to wear depends on what men want to see. The matriarchal clan is gone forever. Even if Wang Wan didn't admit it, she already knew that the social status of women had always been dependent on men. Zhang Xiaobao knew more about this. That's because social status depends on productivity. Whoever can obtain more survival resources will have a higher status. I am very disgusted by the situation where men still want to show their male dignity when the women in the family can earn more money. That is to say, the overall productivity of society has increased. Otherwise, he would have been eliminated long ago. Dignity is not so easy to obtain. Zhang Xiaobao, I couldn't tell that you were really a man. Come, according to your man's taste, which underwear is the best? Let's not talk about the taste first. As Wang Wan spoke, she placed a few blueprints in front of Zhang Xiaobao and asked him to help her choose. Zhang Xiaobao looked at them one by one and pointed at one of them. This one is tightly wrapped and laced. It's the kind that can be hollowed out in the future. Just as Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan began to look at the underwear, the governor of Qinzhou, Ning Zizhong, started to get busy. To be precise, he was anxious. After he wrote the memorial, he found that the most dilapidated land in Qinzhou didn't have a large amount of baidizi as he expected. The empty land was being plowed over and over again, and a large amount of water was being diverted to wash it. He understood what they were doing. They were washing the soil. They had to wash the alkali soil before they could plant things properly. After the manure and food stocks were buried, he felt that it was too early for him to write the report. If the Zhang family didn't plant white piles of rice, then his report of impeachment would easily get him into trouble. Quickly find someone to chase after the memorial and get it back. Just as Ning Zizhong was worried, he saw the housekeeper rush in. He thought that the housekeeper had also discovered that something was wrong, so he ordered loudly, "Ah! Get it back! Master, it's too late. Master, put the memorial aside first. Something big has happened. Our business in other places has been suppressed. The cloth sellers can't sell a single bolt of cloth. As long as they sell, they lose money. Other than the passers-by in the restaurants, the locals don't go to the restaurants to eat. As for the shops that sell grain, the people who send grain to us have stopped. The price of grain is exactly the same as our purchase price. Master, quickly think of something. There is still news from further places that haven't come. I think it's the same." The housekeeper held a few pieces of paper in his hand and said anxiously, Chapter 539. Li Shang was a very ordinary waiter. He had never been to a place more than 100 miles away from his hometown. The furthest he had been to at the age of 17 was Xiongling County, which couldn't be compared to Linfen. Linfen, where he lived, was the capital of Jinzhou. It was prosperous, yes, everyone said so. The surrounding counties were poor, and the people living in the surrounding counties were naturally ignorant. Yes, ignorant. There was actually someone who didn't know that this place belonged to Hadong Road. Even the failed high scholar in Xiongling County was not as knowledgeable as the bookkeeper of Nanfeng Restaurant. What did the bookkeeper know about the sea? He knew that there were huge fish in the sea, but the failed high scholar didn't know. He had been a waiter at Nanfeng Restaurant for 4 years and was busy every day. In the whole of Linfen, only Nanfeng Restaurant could eat all kinds of seafood. They used boats, carriages, and horses to transport them. Baskets of dried goods were soaked in water, and when the time came, they would become delicacies. Usually, when he was busy, he always hoped to be more relaxed. Not only him, but the other waiter was also like this. But now that he was really free, he realized that it was better to be busy. Except for the people who occasionally came to Jin Province, the people who used to eat here didn't come anymore. Not to mention that there was no reward. Yesterday the shopkeeper even said that if this continued, he wouldn't even be able to get his monthly salary. It was all because of the 3 restaurants with the same name, Between the Clouds and the Water, that appeared in the prefecture just now. He didn't know where the 3 restaurants got the seafood from. They were the same price, but it was said that the food was 100 times better than Nanfeng restaurant. In addition, the waiter was wearing the same clothes, and it was said that all of them were literate. In an instant, the local rich people were attracted to them. Why? 3 restaurants with the same name in the prefecture city. Who came up with this bad idea? Could they still make money? If no customers came, the shopkeeper would probably fire all the waiter next month. He didn't know where to find a job, and he couldn't read. Between the Clouds and the Water was really too free. What was the use of having a waiter who could read? Wasn't he still a waiter? Li Shang, there are guests. Why aren't you going to greet them? How can you get paid sitting at the door like a fool? Come over quickly. Hearing the shouts in the restaurant, Li Shang broke free from his thoughts and hurriedly ran in. He casually put the cloth used to wipe the table on his shoulder and, just like before, put on a flattering smile. What would you like to eat? Li Shang habitually wiped the table with a rag while glancing at the 4 guests. He knew they were from outside at first glance. Among the 4 people, 1 was old and the other 3 were young. The old man Wei Wei closed his eyes and didn't say anything. The young man sitting next to him looked at the waiter and then at the rag. He frowned. How long has it been since you washed this rag? Also, the table beside it has been eaten by insects. It's not like this is a roadside wine shop. You're right, sir. I'll change to another one. The 4 of you, please sit at the table on the side. That one hasn't been eaten by insects. Li Shang cursed in his heart. Which restaurant was not like this? However, he did not dare to say it out loud. He maintained the same smile as before to cater to those who found fault with him. After the 4 changed seats, Li Shang took a new rag. The color was better than the previous one. He also wiped the table and asked, "What would you like to eat?" "We have." "No need." 4 bowls of chicken and bamboo shoot soup and 2 light side dishes. The one who spoke just now did not wait for Li Shang to introduce the dishes and directly ordered one. Li Shang looked embarrassed. His smile was not as natural as before. He replied, "Sir, this is the South Wind restaurant. We specialize in seafood and nothing else. Would you like to change?" "Oh, then 4 bowls of shark's fin bird's nest soup and a plate of stir-fried fresh sea snails." This person was easy to talk to. He ordered whatever the restaurant served. "Ah, fresh sea snails? How about stir-fried sea snails?" Li Shang's smile disappeared. He thought these 4 people were here to make trouble. Otherwise, who could order fresh sea snails and bring them here from afar? "What? You can't do it?" "Well, sir, the price of fresh sea snails is a bit high." "Are you?" With a clatter, 4 strings of copper coins were taken out by another person and directly thrown on the table. Li Shang was shocked. He didn't know why this person had more than 20 catties of copper coins on him. He gritted his teeth and said honestly, "Sir, you are making things difficult for this little one. Who can transport a live conch to this place? We don't have any in this restaurant." "Then why are you talking about seafood?" "We came from the capital and ate live sea snails every day at Savant's restaurant." "You don't have any here. No wonder you can't operate." "Forget it. Just serve whatever soup you have. Any light side dish will be fine." This person looked at the old man when he spoke. The old man narrowed his eyes. Wei Wei nodded and settled down. Li Shang was relieved and quickly went to arrange. After the soup was served, he stood aside and waited. Seeing the 4 people eating, he wanted to ask several times but held back. The person who spoke just now drank half a bowl of soup. He estimated the old man's eating speed and slightly stopped to eat at the same time as the old man. Otherwise, it would be rude to eat first and let the old man eat first. He met the eyes of the waiter and asked, "Is there something wrong?" Nothing. I just want to ask, which savant's restaurant in the capital can really eat live sea snails? Li Sheng looked at the old man from time to time. He knew that among the 4 people, as long as the old man was satisfied, there was no need to worry. The person who stopped temporarily nodded and said, "Of course. Savant's restaurant belongs to Between the Clouds and the Water." Do you still need to say what Between the Clouds and the Water is capable of? Between the Clouds and the Water? Between the Clouds and the Water again? Li Sheng now hated and yearned for the name Between the Clouds and the Water. Yes. You also know about Between the Clouds and the Water here? Yes, Between the Clouds and the Water opened 3 stores at the same time. They also specialize in selling seafood. Nanfeng Restaurant's business is getting worse and worse, Li Sheng replied bitterly. Oh, Between the Clouds and the Water here? If I had known, I would have gone to Between the Clouds and the Water. Although it's a little expensive, it's comfortable to eat. The cloth there is all white, and you can change it if you wipe it a little. Nanfeng Restaurant also sells seafood? I wonder if the owner's surname is Ning? This person's interest was piqued. The old man also stopped his already slow movements and opened his eyes slightly. Li Sheng's eyes widened even more. With a face full of doubt, he asked, "How did you know?" "The owner's surname is Ning." "That's right. Isn't the price of Between the Clouds and the Water here the same as Nanfeng Restaurants? I'm going to eat at Between the Clouds and the Water later." After this person finished speaking, he saw that the waiter was still puzzled. Perhaps it was because he could eat cheap food at Between the Clouds and the Water, so he kindly explained, "The owner of this restaurant has offended someone." Of all the people he could have offended, he just had to provoke the Zhang family of Sanshui County. His methods were so despicable that he even beat up one of their farmers. Between the Clouds and the Water's revenge is coming, right? Listen to me and leave Nanfeng Restaurant quickly. Nanfeng Restaurant will be closed soon. What? One farmer was beaten up, and Nanfeng Restaurant attracted 3 seafood restaurants Between the Clouds and the Water? Is the life of a farmer so valuable? Li Sheng felt that this fact was more interesting than a live conch. Was the Zhang family's farmer made of jade? Not even for a moment. As if knowing what he was thinking, the person continued, "The situation here is complicated and simple at the same time. The head of the Zhang family is an official in the south, next to the head of the Ning family, and there are some conflicts between them. The Ning family couldn't deal with the head of the Zhang family, so they set their sights on the Zhang family's farmer. Less than 10 days after the fight, the Zhang family acted like a storm. Do you know why? The Zhang family is telling other people that if they have the ability to cause trouble, they should directly deal with the head of the Zhang family. Don't talk about the servants of the Zhang family. There is no difference between dealing with the Zhang family servants and dealing with the head of the Zhang family. The revenge will be the same. The Ning family is finished, and no one will speak up for the Ning family. The other merchants are only chosen because they have connections with the Zhang family. The people of the imperial court don't just look at who is rich, they look at who is more capable. When it comes to the ability of the Zhang family's master to govern, even 100 Ning Zhongzi can't compare to him. Listen to me and quickly change. Change to the water cloud room. Ah, so that's it? But will Between the Clouds and the Water want me? Li Sheng understood now. He couldn't change anything. When adults were fighting, it was better for children to stay away. Yes. You don't know how the Zhang family does things. No matter what kind of business they do, they will always look for the local people. They never directly bully a shop. They always work together first, unless the shop offends them. Even if it offends them, they are not afraid. If the shop is gone, the local workers will be taken over by the Zhang family. It is because of this that the imperial court doesn't care. The Zhang family doesn't only have a restaurant, but also a variety of other shops. When they open a shop, they will recruit local workers, even farmers. Wherever the Zhang family shop is, the lives of the people will be better. Go. Say that you are a worker of Nanfeng Restaurant, and they will help you arrange it. If you do well, they might even let you take charge of the business and send you overseas to be a manager. As the man spoke, He picked up a piece of fried shrimps and put it on the old man's plate. He lowered his head and ate. Li Shang didn't expect this result. After feeling happy, he suddenly reacted. "Sir, how do you know so clearly?" The man just smiled and didn't say anything. The workers working for the Ning family didn't have to worry, but the head of the Ning family in Qinzhou was worried. As long as the family's business wasn't in Qinzhou, all of them were attacked. Even if the news hadn't been sent back from further away, Ning Zhongze didn't have the slightest bit of hope. Especially the shops near the capital. That was the foundation of the Zhong family. If other places were being attacked, then the shops around the capital wouldn't escape. It's over. It's completely over. I don't even know if I can keep my official position. My status in the family is gone. After Ning Zhongze received the news, he immediately knew the seriousness of the matter. He looked at the housekeeper standing there respectfully. This time, he really couldn't push the blame to the housekeeper. In the past, the family clearly knew what was going on and tacitly agreed. Now that all the shops in the family were being attacked, the family wouldn't be satisfied with just the housekeeper. What should I do? What should I do? Ning Zhongze sat there, paralyzed, and kept muttering the same words. The housekeeper sighed. He didn't expect the Zhong family to react so fiercely. They were willing to lose money to destroy the Ning family's business. Originally, he wanted to use this method to force the Zhong family to compromise. In the end, the Zhong family didn't have the heart to do so. The old master couldn't be defeated. If the old master was defeated, he would be finished as well. "Master, why don't I go to the head of the family and tell them it was my idea? Master, you can write a memorial and say good things about Zhong Zhong. Also, you can ask the imperial court to allow you to learn from Lu Zhou and compromise with Zhong Zhong. Lu Zhou's construction is almost done. It's time for Zhong Zhong to leave. After he leaves, won't the old master have the final say? It's useless. Zhong Zhong has already made his move. In order to suppress us, the Zhong family lost so much money. How can they agree to let go? If it were you, would you do it? If it were before, it would be fine. Besides, I've already sent the memorial. Zhong Zhong is waiting for an opportunity. Finally, it's in his hands. I don't understand. Zhong Zhong is taking care of the lives of the local people, collecting local specialties for his family, opening a few new businesses, and Lu Zhou's construction. How can he find the time to deal with me? I used one plan after another, but Zhong Zhong didn't worry at all. He solved it easily. I don't think he's going against me. It's as if he's playing with me. Let's go all out. I'll lead the army and say there's a fugitive. Let's see if Zhong Zhong is still in the mood to play with me. Zhong Zhongze steeled his heart and wanted to take the risk. Master, you can't do that. You can't lead the army. You'll fall into Zhong Zhong's trap. Even if he's afraid, the imperial court won't allow it. Master, think twice. Master, why don't you spend more money and send it to the people in the imperial court so that they can get rid of Zhong Zhong as soon as possible? The housekeeper advised as he gave the idea. Chapter 540. Ning Zhongze finally adopted a method that the steward didn't think was a good idea. He ordered his people to stop trading outside. As for how much they would lose in the end, he didn't know now. In short, they would lose money as long as they stayed outside. Zhang Xiaobao didn't treat the Ning family as an opponent from the beginning. This kind of family was already old. The change of dynasty had changed many aristocratic families. If it was a third-ranked official from the imperial court, perhaps he would be interested in a fight. Those people were all shrewd, just like old man Bai. If he himself did not want to fall into the trap, it would be useless no matter how one tried to trick him. He could endure it, and he could endure it forever. Enduring for 8 to 10 years was not considered long. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan made a lot of things for their younger brothers and sisters. Basically, they could use them until they were 4 years old. After that, what they would continue to make would depend on the hobbies of the 4 little guys. Hobbies didn't appear out of thin air. They had to let the children see all kinds of strange things so that they could choose one. If they were forced to cultivate them, it was simple. When they played from a young age, they would only be exposed to one kind of thing. There was a high probability that the child would choose that as the most interesting thing. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, who had put down the work of making things, received news that the fleet had returned. 6 ships had returned, and the rest were still on the island. The people they sent out came back very easily. It seemed that the harvest was good, and there weren't any casualties. The steward who followed the Zhang family was called Zhang Xingjia. When he saw Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, he put the package on his back on the table. Just as he was about to speak, Li Sun, who had received the news, rushed in hurriedly and asked as soon as he saw him, "How was it? How many people did you kill? Did you raise the prestige of the Tang Empire? How are the casualties?" Zhang Xingjia was stunned by Li Sun's series of questions until Li Sun ran over and drank the water in the teacup. Then he said, "Young master, young lady, young master Li, we didn't kill a single person. The people who went last time didn't even see the people they met last time. Maybe they were hiding somewhere and ran away when they saw that there were so many of us. The rest of the locals were very peaceful. They were also very happy when they exchanged things with us. A fishing net made of cotton thread with a radius of 1 zhang could be exchanged for 5 stones of such or that they found. That's it." As Zhang Xingjia spoke, he took out a piece of or from his bag. After thinking for a while, he took out another one. Zhang Xiaobao, Wang Wan, and Li Sun stared at each other. They didn't know what kind of or these 2 stones belonged to. "This is..." Li Sun took the ore and waited a few times before asking in a long voice, "This is gold ore, and the other is copper ore." Seeing that they took it out so easily, it's obvious that there are more ores on the island, and they are easy to mine. "I don't know how much they can refine. A fishing net can be exchanged for so much," Zhang Xingjia explained. He also asked someone after getting off the boat. Li Sun wasn't afraid of being poisoned. He kissed the gold ore with his mouth and said excitedly to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, "Xiaobao, Cuckoo, we're rich. We're rich. A fishing net made of cotton and twine can be exchanged for so much. Look at the weight. Normal stones can't be so heavy." Zhang Xiaobao really didn't care about the gold ore. It was useless now and was usually used to make jewelry. The copper ore was good. As long as there were enough of it, they didn't have to worry about the 5 punishments. They could replace the coins that messed up the economy and ensure the purchasing power of the copper coins. No one would destroy the copper coins and cast copper wares. This was not what he cared about the most. It didn't matter whether they had money or not. The most important thing was food. The Kaiyuan era wasn't really prosperous yet. Before the new seeds of food were cultivated and planted in large quantities, getting food from other places was the best way to solve the problem of people's livelihood. Otherwise, they would be poor if they had money but didn't have food. He didn't know if the high-yield food he grew in Sanshui County would be lower or higher after the seeds were made. He thought that the people of the imperial government's agriculture temple had already paid attention to it. He hoped that they could find more ways to increase the production. Zhang Xingjia seemed to know what the young master and the young lady were most concerned about. Seeing that the 2 of them didn't attach much importance to the ores, he immediately said, "Young master, young lady, there is a lot of food on the island. They also know how to farm. They don't all stay in the mountains. There are a lot of flat land. They don't know how to farm, so they directly plant. But I don't know why. The rice yield in the fields they plant is not less than the rice yield in the seeds sold by the Zhang family. That place is hot. Look, I'm tanned. It's estimated that they can plant it 3 times a year. The taste may not be the same, but it's edible." On the boat back, there are 2 boats. "Young master and young lady, you can go and have a look later." Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were satisfied. Even if it's bad, it's fine if people don't like to eat it. It can be used to feed pigs, cows, and sheep, especially pigs. It's very good. With more oil, it's not so expensive for people to eat food. Next time we go there, we can find grass and trees that we haven't seen before and bring them back to have a look. Maybe we can find good herbs or good wood. At this time, Wang Wan leisurely picked up another piece of copper ore and weighed it in her hand. It would be better if there was good grass that grew quickly and could be used to feed cows and sheep. She didn't mean to bring the grass back, but to bring the cows and sheep there to raise. When the time came, they would kill the cows and sheep and bring back the meat and skin. If they really found good grass and there was no place to plant it here, they would really bring back ships and specially cultivate cows. They would either directly feed the children or make milk slices and dry them to make milk powder that didn't taste good and be transported further away. Zhang Xiaobao was thinking about another thing. Seeing that Wang Wan and Li Sun were both thinking about different things, he asked, "Have you found a suitable place to build the dock? Can the local people communicate well?" Replying to Little Young Master, "The dock is simple. I see that the surrounding coast can be built. Does Little Young Master want to hire the locals there to help?" Zhang Xingjia understood immediately. Seeing that Little Young Master nodded, he said, "But it's not very convenient to communicate with the locals. They can't understand what we're saying, and we can't understand what they're saying. When we exchange things, we use gestures. We first put the fishing net on the ground and make space for them to come over and see. Then they happily let people take the ore. Little Young Master, I think it's fine to let them take the shell fragrance, hawksbill turtles, and corals in the sea. There's no need to give them better things." "Oh, right. Think of a way to let them learn the local language. Cotton is still valuable now. If we can't give them that, what will we use to pay them back? How about pottery? You brought a lot of it. Did you exchange it for good things?" Zhang Xiaobao's eyes lit up. The people on the island were poor. If you gave them something, they would feel that it was good. They couldn't distinguish the value at all. This was a good opportunity to bully them. In fact, it wasn't bullying. When Zhang Xingjia heard that it was pottery, he immediately replied, "Little Young Master, you don't know. Pottery is good. We didn't exchange many, only 10. In the end, we got 2 ships of rice. 5 is 1 ship. We're rich. The ships will stop there. The pottery won't be gone in a short time." "Good, your work is really reassuring. With the pottery they can cook food. Does that mean we need to put oil in it? Next time, bring some soybean oil. You guys can do a demonstration for them to see and taste. After that, change the oil. You can't give them too much pottery." Zhang Xiaobao was satisfied. It wasn't because of how many things they exchanged, but because the people who went knew how to control it. But when he thought about the exchange, Zhang Xiaobao began to worry. If the merchants of the Jiangnan East Road saw this situation, would they disrupt the market? The rarer something was, the more valuable it was. In order to get more gold and copper, they would most likely not care about the commercial value of the goods and casually exchange them with others. No, definitely not allow merchants to bring any non-consumable goods over. Bring some spices. It smells good and can be used to make delicious food. Especially MSG. We can sell it to the merchants first and let them exchange it. Zhang Xiaobao, who originally wanted to let the merchants do their own thing, changed his mind. He didn't want to follow the original plan. There must be restrictions. Spices were good things. In the past, some Europeans even put spices on their bodies to show their identity. It could be seen how precious spices were. Wang Wan put down the oars and pondered for a while. She pulled Zhang Xiaobao and left. "Let's go find Grandpa Zhang and Grandpa Bai and ask them for help. Just like you said, non-consumable goods can't appear on the island in large quantities. I think they will use pottery very carefully. It's too difficult to break one. They won't need it when they have more." Zhang Xiaobao turned back and took the 2 oars in his hands. Old Man Chong and Old Man Pai had nothing to do. They were playing billiards with a group of old men. 10 people surrounded a case and were divided into 2 groups. They didn't feel that the waiting time was long. It was hard to understand why they were so excited. "Grandpa Zhang, Grandpa Bai, are you guys playing?" Zhang Xiaobao smiled and greeted them. When Old Man Chang and Old Man Pai saw that Xiaobao and Cuckoo came over, they knew that the two of them had something to discuss. They gave the opportunity to others and led Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan to a secluded place to rest. Old Man Zhang picked up a small abalone that was specially used as a snack from the small table and threw it into his mouth. He gently chewed it twice and asked, "Xiaobao, is there something difficult to do?" "Well, this abalone is not bad." Zhang Xiaobao curled his lips. "Of course it's not bad. Except for the nursing home, no other place can enjoy such treatment." He put down the 2 oars in his hands and said, "There should be a lot of gold and copper ores there. There are a few things that can be exchanged. Pottery and porcelain are also fine. A net made of cotton thread. Also, I thought of spices and soybean oil. Grandpa Zhang, which one do you think is suitable for exchange?" "Do you still need to ask? Of course it's spices and soybean oil. Anything that can be grown will disappear as soon as it's eaten. How long will it take to refine pottery and porcelain?" "Oh, I understand. Are you afraid that someone will bring a lot of pottery and porcelain? It seems that we have to ask the imperial court for an order. I will write a letter right away." Chapter 541. Old Man Pai hastily wrote a few letters and sent them out. Only then did he feel relieved. He asked Zhang Xiaobao to tell his family to settle the matter first. There was no need to wait for the imperial court's decree. Just as he was thinking about this, the merchants from the Jiangnan East Road arrived. They could not have been waiting at the seaside not far from Luzhou. It was also impossible for them to send someone to wait here and deliver the news. Unless they could fly, it was impossible for them to arrive so quickly. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan immediately rushed home and asked Zhang Zhong to inform the merchants of the Jiangnan East Road about this matter. Initially, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were slightly worried that the merchants would not agree. They were afraid that they would pretend to agree while secretly doing the trade. In the end, before Zhang Zhong could finish his words, the merchants from the Jiangnan East Road understood what he meant. They all promised that they would not trade any non-consumable items. They seemed very united. Fortunately, they even wrote a written agreement. Now, we don't have to worry about them breaking the rules. Wang Wan heaved a sigh of relief when she heard about this. That's right. The status of merchants nowadays is low. Moreover, this is a big deal. It's not like the merchants in the economic wave who would tear each other apart. In that case, we'll give them a cheaper price for the soybean oil in the future. We won't charge them too much. I wonder if they'll build a refinery for gold and copper on the island. How do you think they purify the gold? They can't just throw the ores into the furnace and burn them, right? At the very least, they'll have to add other chemical materials. Zhang Xiaobao was very satisfied with the merchants from the Jiangnan East Road. Suddenly, he thought about the refining process. Who knows? We'll find out if we ask. It shouldn't be difficult. It's the same for the refining of the silver as well. Xiaobao, is there any news from the Ning family? Wang Wan was not very concerned about the problem of refining. She and Zhang Xiaobao did not need it for the time being. The two of them were not prepared to put their hands on the minerals, even if the minerals were very valuable. Zhang Xiaobao originally didn't want to mention the Ning family, but after hearing Wang Wan mention it, he pondered for a while. That depends on what the imperial court thinks. Ning Zhongze was falsely accused, and the things he did in the past year were a little too much. But I don't think Li Longji would kill him in one go. Zhang Xiaobao felt that if he was in Ning Zhongze's shoes, he wouldn't kill Ning Zhongze either. This had nothing to do with whether he had committed a crime or not. The main thing was that Qinzhou was part of the Lingnan circuit. The Ning family already had a strong foundation in this area. Making a move here wouldn't do the imperial court any good. Moreover, the main focus of the imperial court was not on Qin province, but on Luzhou. After some competition, they would know who would become an official in Luzhou. The only thing they could be sure of was that Chao Herue and the other two would not be able to run away. It was not that they did not want to cooperate with their father, but they were now occupying a position that they should not occupy. The magistrate position was also a very important position. Then, should we let them go? After all, their businesses have all been retracted. It can be said that their vitality has been greatly damaged. It would take at least 8 to 10 years for them to regain their original scale. Wang Wan was a little dispirited. After all they gained was a reputation that would make people think twice about messing with the Zhang family in the future. Moreover, they had lost money. They had killed 1,000 enemies, but they had lost 800 of their own. They did not gain any economic advantage. Zhang Xiaobao clearly did not want to let the Ning family off so easily. He tapped his face lightly with his hand. When Wang Wan saw Zhang Xiaobao's actions, she perked up. She was waiting for Zhang Xiaobao to come up with an idea. It's not good to always sell high-end goods, especially furniture. Let's sell some low-end ones. Even the slightly wealthy people have to enjoy it. Let's get someone to make some simple furniture that is the same as the high-end ones. We'll ship them to the south of the Yangtze River and sell them there. That's it. Zhang Xiaobao only said one sentence and did not explain further. However, Wang Wan knew that it must have something to do with the Ning family. She just did not know how to use it. Xiaobao, it's up to you to decide. Let's go and see the little ones. It's time to send them to the house to play. Wang Wan was worried about her younger siblings. 2 days later, the merchants of the Jiangnan East Road set off. They were very obedient. The total number of ships was recorded in the records. There was nothing like what they had imagined. Perhaps the merchants now knew their identity and status and would not go against the government. The ships were loaded with soybean oil and spices. They were prepared to trade for ores. If the ores were suitable for refining, they would bring the craftsmen to the island to obtain the materials directly. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were very satisfied with this. After all, they had to pollute the environment. It was better to pollute other places than to pollute their own place. After sending them off, the merchants who had joined the Luzhou's Chamber of Commerce from other places came to the Chamber of Commerce to discuss matters. They seemed very nervous. After asking around, they found out that the merchants and civilians of the other provinces in Lianzhou had been tricked. It seems like the people from the Five Lakes Chamber of Commerce are getting smarter. They won't let others keep fish. Can they make a move? Write their identities and send it to the court. We'll see how the court will protect the Ning family. Wang Wan knew what was going on after she heard the report from the people in the Chamber of Commerce. The people from the Five Lakes Chamber of Commerce could not deceive Lu Zhou. Unwilling to give up, they tried to deceive others. In the end, they succeeded in deceiving several places. Wang Wan felt that this was an opportunity to make the Ning family unable to make a comeback. Zhang Xiaobao, on the other hand, had his own concerns. Wei Wei shook her head and said, "No, who's going to write the memorial? Neither my father nor grandfather Bai can do it. The court isn't a fool. It's not good for them to stretch their hands too far. How about this? Have someone spread the news quietly. I don't want the Ning family to be caught and executed, but I'll make it difficult for them to do anything. They're not afraid of offending people, right? Let's just let them offend one person. They've already offended the surrounding provinces. Does the Ning family still want to do business elsewhere? There's no need to rush. Even if the court doesn't touch them this time, when Lu Zhou's new officials arrive and settle down, the Ning family will be finished." Zhang Xiaobao was a man of action. The news spread quickly. Naturally, the Ning family would not admit to it. They anxiously called the people from the Five Lakes Chamber of Commerce back. They actually had 20,000 strings of cash. When the Ning family received the 20,000 strings of cash, they had completely offended the other party. Zhang Xiaobao hastily sent a message to the surrounding provinces through the Luzhou Chamber of Commerce. He told them to plant soybeans in the Badland first. After 2 years, they would immediately plant cotton. Even if the land was saline alkali soil, it would not be a problem. Moreover, soybeans could also be sold to the merchants in Jiangnan. He also told the other provinces about the method of combining raising pigs, ducks, fish, and vegetables. Fish was not valuable, especially the people who lived near the sea. If they wanted to eat fish, they could just catch it themselves. However, pork and ducks were valuable. Even the extra vegetables were also valuable. The Luzhou Chamber of Commerce collected vegetables. The fresh ones could be transported, dried, or shaded. Each had its uses. This was especially true for people who went out to sea. They could bring more dried vegetables. When the time came, they would grow after soaking them in water. Although some of the nutrients would be lost during the drying process, most of the nutrients would be retained. This was the method Zhang Xiaobao had always used. They worked together to get what they needed. After knowing about the combination of poultry, livestock, fish, and vegetables, one would not find it difficult. Even if there were some details in the process that needed to be adjusted, it was just there. One could understand the general idea after looking at it. However, the surrounding provinces were very grateful to the Luzhou Chamber of Commerce. Many things were not difficult after knowing about it, but when they did not know about it, they would not have thought of it. Although the people in the places where the Zhang family went had a good life, the ordinary people in other places did not have much meat, especially pork. Apart from disliking the dirty habits of pigs, there was also another reason. Pigs also had to be fed with food. After all, there was not much pigweed. Even if there was, they could not always feed it to the pigweed. Zhang Xiaobao decided to do good deeds to the end. In places where there was a shallow bay, he even had people use nets to plan the area. He caught sea chickens, which were also known as sandworms, and raised them. He made a small amount of seawater oxidized to provide enough food for the sandworms. The locals did not like to eat sandworms. Like worms, they were usually sold as cheap medicinal herbs. However, Zhang Xiaobao needed them. Using sandworms to decoct monosodium glutamate was the same as using kelp. The effect was better than using kelp. He had always had the recipe in his hands. When the time came, he would buy it at a higher price. This was the last thing Zhang Xiaobao could do for the locals. It was already October. If it was in the north, some places would even have light snow. It was not very cold here, so it was fine to put on an extra layer of clothing. The imperial court's commendation came first, praising Zhang Zhonghao. The better the praises, the closer Zhang Xiaobao would be to his departure. Perhaps the official who would take over his position was already on the way. The Ning family received the imperial court's decree as well. Apart from being severely reprimanded, they were also fined 2 years of their salary. The fine was not much, and the Ning family did not care. Compared to the money they lost when the Zhang family attacked them, the fine was just a drop in the bucket. The imperial court was expressing their dissatisfaction with Ning Zhongze. They wanted Ning Zhongze to pay the same rent as the previous years. In other words, the Ning family would have to pay for the rent that was not enough. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan did everything they should do. They spent more energy on their younger siblings. Although the change in the weather was not that big, the two of them were still a little worried. The 4 little ones were not like the 2 of them. When they came, they were already 10 months old. Moreover, they knew what was wrong with them and could find a way to adjust. The children could not even speak now. They ate and slept. Occasionally, they would laugh and cry. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were very envious. This was what childhood should be like. After throwing the 4 little guys into the house, they started to play there. They could often see one of the little guys running from the 3rd floor to the 1st floor in one breath. Then, they would look outside through the glass and laugh foolishly. Now, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's biggest hobby was to send the 4 babies into the house and then observe them from outside. Needless to say, the little guys liked all the places designed by Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan very much, especially the youngest sister. The place she liked to go the most was the platform that could swing back and forth. Her little butt would twist and turn, and she even knew how to use force to make the platform swing more. Go and experience it. We're leaving soon by boat. Don't get seasick. Wang Wan tapped on the glass with her hand. The 4 little guys heard the news. Soon they found the place. One of them even climbed from the first floor to the third floor. Through the glass, he opened his eyes wide and looked out curiously. From time to time, he would pat the glass with his little hand. Saliva kept dripping down from the corner of his mouth. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's mother accompanied them outside. Now, the four little guys had to stay in the house for 8 hours every day. They liked it here. Compared to the warmth in the south, most of the leaves in the capital had fallen. The cold wind blew from time to time. Even if they wore 2 layers of clothes, they would still shiver from the cold. The poor were used to the changes in weather. The rich had a better life. They could change clothes back and forth. Even if it snowed heavily, they didn't have to worry about the cold. Some were in a good mood and could even walk around. The Minister of Works, Lu Jiro, belonged to the rich. There were still 2 months until the end of the year. At this time, there was not much work, so he was relatively idle. He took LV Yenzhua and wandered on the water with a boat. It was the river that led to Shao Luoshui. At this time, the river was not frozen yet. They had to wait until other places were frozen before they could stop the boat. The main reason was that when winter came, they would collect tolls from the merchants who passed by. This money was not collected casually. After it was collected, it was used to hire the surrounding people to help remove the frozen ice from the river. When the weather was cold again, it was time to harvest ice. In the summer, they could sell it to the cold storage on both sides of the river and make a lot of money. Lord Lu, when Zhang Zhong comes back, where is he going to be arranged? LV Yenzhua rubbed his face that was a little numb from the wind and asked Lu Jiro. He still didn't understand how Zhang Zhong had such great ability. He should have been sent away. In the end, after the disaster, not only did he not rush back like the officials who had been sent away, he even used more than a year to govern the place. He had to admit that the Zhang family's ability was not small. However, he still remembered Zhang Zhong's attitude towards him and wanted to do something bad. How could Lu Jiro not know what he was thinking? If it was someone else, they might have been schemed against. Unfortunately, he met Zhang Zhong. The Zhang family had a master. It hasn't been decided yet. I don't think it will be decided before the new year. Zhang Zhong has to come back for the new year. He snatched many people from Lu Zhou. Will the imperial court pretend that they didn't see it? They must be rewarded. The Zhang family doesn't lack money, so give them official positions. They can't give them actual positions, but they can still give them some empty positions. This time, when Zhang Zhong comes back, don't have any bad ideas. Otherwise, he will use this as an excuse to resign. In order to appease his anger, you will be the unlucky one in the end. I know you are not convinced, but he is powerful. If you go to Lu Zhou, can you build Lu Zhou into such a state? Those who plow have their own fields, those who live have their own houses, the old have their own care, the young have their own education, and they don't have to worry about food and clothing. This may not be a big deal. The Zhang family is rich, so they can pay for it first, and they can't get it back now. The most surprising thing is that not only did the Zhang family not lose money, but they also made a lot of money. Especially when they found a piece of Tang's land. Do you know? It's Tang's land. If it weren't for his young age, he would have been summoned back to the capital by the emperor and be an official with a similar position as me. Lu Jiro was quite satisfied with her current subordinates. Apart from being narrow-minded, they were not bad. She didn't want to provoke the Zhang family and deal with them. After all, the Ning family was an example. LV Yenzhua was indeed unwilling, but he couldn't help but admire the Zhang family. They actually made a lot of achievements in a place like Lingnan. He heard that the place was very well built. There were many roads, countless fertile fields, and prosperous businesses. How did they do it? At this time, when he saw that his superior had spoken, he could only hide the calculations in his heart. He was going to wait for Zhang Zhong to come back and think of something. In fact, he really wanted to find trouble with Zhang Zhong, and there were many reasons. For example, Zhang Zhong secretly formed an army, and Zhang Zhong killed people when he went to the place. If it were any other official, it would not be a small matter. However, he knew that this kind of thing couldn't be said. After all, Zhang Zhong didn't have any intention of rebelling, and he kept giving away the benefits. Just like now, other officials were unwilling to leave the place that had been built, but Zhang Zhong had already written his thoughts in the memorial. He meant that the imperial court could arrange for whoever to go there. When he thought of this, LV Yenzhua was worried. Zhang Zhong's concession would definitely cause the imperial court to compensate Zhang Zhong further. Lord Lu, why don't we fight for the benefits from Lu Zhou? Even if we can't arrange for someone to be the provincial governor, it should be easy to choose 2 judges, right? LV Yenzhua thought of the competition in the imperial court again. He had already sent people out, but unfortunately, those people had nothing to do with the power of the Ministry of Works. He still had some words that he didn't say. As long as they fought for the position, they could embezzle some money from the rich Lu Zhou. They could either use it in the Ministry of Works or take it back home. Lu Zhiro suddenly smiled mysteriously and said, "Do you think the new officials can get money? Let me tell you this. The reason Zhang Zhong agreed to leave so quickly is because the Zhang family has controlled the local money. If the new officials are sensible, they can continue to work according to Zhang Zhong's original plan. When they leave office, they will have a lot of benefits. If they insist on going there for money, the consequences are not only a matter of whether they can get money, but they may not even be able to keep their official position. That's why I don't want to fight for it. How can the Zhang family give away the money? The chambers of commerce there are working together, and outsiders can't interfere at all. If the new officials want to directly make a move, they can forget about paying the rent next year. Before Zhang Zhong comes back, he should report the rent for the second half of this year. According to the situation there, next year should be better than this year. However, if the officials reach out, I don't think they can even collect 30% of the rent for the second half of this year. Using the army to pressure them? The army is the local people's family. How can they make a move on their own family? Deceive them? I haven't heard of anyone who can deceive the Zhang family's business. Let's wait and see what kind of officials they choose this time. If they don't do well, even the people they choose will be implicated. LV Yenzhua fell silent. Even if he was unwilling to admit the Zhang family's ability to make money, he had to accept the fact. As long as it was the Zhang family's business, it was impossible to casually overthrow it. The business of the Zhang family was connected, and they even invited other businessmen to join in. It was really a case of pulling one hair and affecting the whole body. At least, he didn't have the ability to understand the Zhang family's business, let alone where to start. However, LV Yenzhua still wanted to find some psychological stability, so he said, if they really dare to deal with the new officials, how can the imperial court not know? How can the emperor not know? Yes, they all know. The emperor also knows. But so what? Sanshui County listens to the Zhang family and has always stopped. How much rent do we pay every year? Yaozhou doesn't completely listen to the Zhang family, but they won't interfere with the Zhang family's business. How much rent do we pay every year? What does this mean? It means that as long as we follow the line drawn by the Zhang family, we can't reduce the rent. Once the rent is reduced, it means that the official didn't do it. It's fine if you don't do it, but you have to have the ability to do better. If you don't have the ability and don't learn to do it, then the first person the emperor is dissatisfied with is not Zhang Zhong, but the official sent. Lu Jiro's analysis was very thorough. The Zhang family didn't have the intention to rebel. They arranged it casually, but no matter where they were, it was reassuring. They could make money, spend money, and most importantly, make the local economy prosperous. Not to mention the new officials who rushed to go. Even if he had a conflict with the Zhang family, the emperor wouldn't help him. This time, LV Yenzhua had nothing to say. He also had to agree with this statement. It was true. The Zhang family did things too safely. If it was only safe, it would be suspicious. However, the Zhang family always made a little mistake, which could be used against them. It was very easy for the emperor to use such people. He could make the Zhang family use their skills without worrying about them being difficult to control. This was the most amazing thing. Moreover, the Zhang family had another ability. They could solve the problems they caused. For example, when they suppressed other people's shops, the Zhang family suppressed many shops at the same time. Normally, there would be a lot of people who couldn't find a job to do. However, every time the Zhang family suppressed others, they would take over the original workers. They could also find more jobs to let the local people work. In this way, the imperial court didn't have to worry about the people not being able to survive because of the Zhang family's actions. Thinking of this, LV Yenzhua finally gave up the idea of dealing with Zhang Zhong for the time being. He said, "Darren is right. I should learn more, especially the way the Zhang family does business in various places. The most important thing is the method of raising pigs, ducks, and fish together." Lu Jiro understood very well that it wasn't that LV Yenzhua didn't want to deal with Zhang Zhong, but the gap between them was too big. There was no way to deal with him. This was also good. The process was not important. What was important was the final result. This time, when you wait for the Zhang family to come back, you have to take a good look and see what the Zhang family can do. His family is not simple. It would be best if he could follow behind them personally. The former Minister of Revenue had always been behind them. If he didn't have some ability, how could he let Bai Go do that? Even without Lu Jiro's reminder, LV Yenzhua already wanted to do this. He really wanted to see how big a storm Zhang Zhong could make after he came back. At this moment, Zhang Zhong was also idle. He had learned a lot about officialdom, but after all, he had only been in contact with it for a short time. He didn't know what his son had done here. He had already helped him pave the road behind. It was also because of this that Zhang Xiaobao didn't agree to him directly returning to the capital to be an official. It was not so easy to be an official. Many times, it was not enough to bring benefits to the local people with a plan. It was enough to exchange benefits with others. In the Tang Dynasty, where power was strong, one had to figure out the thoughts of the emperor. Only in this way could one be an official for a long time. Otherwise, it was just a prime minister who could get you at any time. Even if you didn't have any problems, any reason would be enough. Even if you didn't need a reason, you would have to come down. This was not an election, let alone any democracy. Let's see more. It won't be easy to see in the future. I don't know where I will be an official next time. If it's far away, it will take half a year to go and come back. Maybe I won't be able to come back a second time in my life. Zhang Zhong rode alone on the street, muttering to himself. Occasionally, he would meet people and greet them. At this time, Zhang Zhong had the leisure to look at the place he had built. It was beautiful, really beautiful. It was not worse than the capital, especially the use of a lot of cement. Perhaps it was just that there were not so many houses next to each other. If he really counted, it was more magnificent than Chang'an. It's a pity that the tree doesn't grow up. I don't know if the new official can do what he wants. If he has to change the method to deny others, there will be another struggle. Zhang Zhong knew his son's plan and knew how big of a change it would bring to this place. However, he was very worried that the new official would deliberately oppose it to show his ability. In that case, his son and daughter-in-law would be busy again. They would have to use the means of the Chamber of Commerce to force the new official to leave. He was not worried that his son and daughter-in-law could not win against the new official. However, in that case, his son and daughter-in-law would have to put in more effort. It was not easy for them to have a stable life, but they still had to think about Lu Zhou. It was too tiring to live like this. Zhang Zhong did not walk fast along the way. From time to time, he would stop to talk. There were not many people around. As he walked, he let the horse follow the road on its own. After a few turns, he arrived at the seaside. When he looked at the sky, he realized that 4 hours had passed. It seemed like only a short while had passed. Looking at the blue sea and the nearest lighthouse, Zhang Zhong puffed out his chest. He suddenly felt a sense of pride in his heart. Just as his son had said, no one would dare to have any ideas about Tang in the future, especially in the sea. Fortunately, the lighthouse was almost done. It would be completed before he left. In the future, even if the land could not accommodate them, he could still find a way to make money in the sea. The pigeon has flown over. I reckon the new official will arrive in a few days. He's working hard all the way back. He might be able to return to Sanshui County before the new year. Unfortunately, I don't know where the next place will be. I hope it won't delay the spring plowing. Zhang Xiaobao took the letter tied to the pigeon's leg and read it. It was a message from the capital. He was looking forward to going home, but he was also a little gloomy. Zhang Xiaobao did not want to encounter this kind of uncontrollable situation. However, he did not have any good ideas. Perhaps, the emperor had not thought of a good idea as well. Wang Wan took the letter and read it. She said, "Will your father be sent to Sichuan? That road is not easy to travel. Moreover, Sichuan is also humid. It's different from the humidity at the seaside. There's no real chili now. We can't eat Sichuan pot even if we want to." "I don't think so. There might be a war in Sichuan. How can Li Longji send my father there? It's better to send him to Wuhan. I want to eat some fish. Didn't they say the fish there is delicious?" Zhang Xiaobao could not figure it out, so he decided not to think about it. After all, Tang was only so big. If his father was really sent to Sichuan, he could develop there. Sichuan was a good place. If worst came to worst, he could go to the northeast, even if that place was not very stable now. When Wang Wan saw that Zhang Xiaobao was not worried, she also relaxed. However, when she thought about the current Lu Zhou, she was very unhappy that he would be given to someone else in the future. Fortunately, there was Li Sun's business. It might not be so easy for others to get their hands on the 100,000 mountains. Just as the two of them were feeling bored, Li Sun rushed over excitedly and said to the two of them, "Are we leaving? I saw a pigeon coming over from the other side. It's good to go back quickly. I haven't seen my family for a long time. It's strange. This year's winter, I don't have to worry about clothes. I'll wear a cotton coat. Have you made a decision about the fiefdom? What if my father and you go to different places? Then our family can't help you much." Zhang Xiaobao suddenly remembered that Li Sun was going to other places. Although it was fine for people like Li Sun to stay in the capital all day and the fiefdom would still be paid, according to Li Sun's character, he would never agree to only take the money from the fiefdom and not manage it. Li Sun was now addicted to it and wanted to show his value to society. "When the time comes, I'll tell my father and ask him to find a way to get my fiefdom to the place where your father is an official. At that time, you don't have to care about my fiefdom. I'll manage it myself. Then, we'll compete and see who can manage it better. Don't think that it's fine just because your family has money. If it was someone else, it might not be easy, but I don't lack money. I know how to do it. First, find some work for the people, and I'll pay for it. Then, we'll do business and build roads. When the roads are built and there are more merchants, we'll set up a chamber of commerce and everyone will work together. I reckon that your family won't be able to compare to me at that time. If you don't believe me, let's make a bet. What are we betting on? Let's bet on books and money. I'll take a loss. If I lose, I'll give you 10,000 strings of cash. The two of you can keep this money for yourselves. If I win, you'll tell me all the books you've learned. If I can find the books, I'll look for them myself. If I can't find them, I'll take them from you. For example, that book on nature is very good. 10,000 strings of cash. In the end, I can only exchange it for one of your books. Don't you think you're taking advantage of me?" Li Sun looked like he had been tricked. How could Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan believe him? Wang Wan immediately said, "You can keep the 10,000 strings of cash for yourself. You're really generous. You're using money to exchange for the opportunity to obtain knowledge. What are you thinking? Is knowledge that worthless? Can it be exchanged casually? Then how many books like nature do you have? If it's 20,000 strings of cash for one book, we're willing to bet with you on equal terms." We'll discuss it again. Li Sun chuckled when he saw that his thoughts had been seen through by the two of them. He didn't mention it again. He changed the topic and said, "Let's go and see our younger siblings. I brought them something good, prawns." Li Sun took a food box from the person beside him and walked towards the house where Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's siblings were. Zhang Xiaobao hurriedly reached out to grab it. Prawns couldn't be eaten by the children. It was easy for it to get stuck in their throats. Li Sun, who usually appeared very clumsy, became agile at this moment. He actually dodged Zhang Xiaobao's hand and said, "Don't worry, it's not for them to eat with the shell, nor is it for them to eat directly. It's steamed in a pot without even adding salt. It won't kill them. The little ones will definitely like it." Only then did Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan allow Li Sun to follow them. They didn't know what the 4 little ones were playing with. When the 3 of them arrived, they saw 2 maidservants looking curiously through the glass. The 3 of them slowed down and inched over bit by bit. In the end, they saw something very magical. They didn't know how the 4 little ones came up with this idea. The bells in the house were originally made of wide wood and hung on the door with hooks without edges and corners. But now, they had been taken down and hung on the rope of the platform that could swing back and forth. There were a total of 4 thick ropes wrapped in silk. The hooks of the bells could only be hooked. The 4 bells were placed on the 4 ropes. The 4 little ones sat on the platform and randomly exerted their strength, wanting to make the platform swing more. But because they didn't exert their strength in the same direction, the swing wasn't as big as when one person was on the platform. But even so, it was shocking enough. When the 4 bells swayed with the platform, they made a jingling sound. The 4 little ones watched while drooling and laughing. "Smart. It seems that your family is not ordinary people. You can even think of this idea. They're not even 5 months old, right? They can already think of how to play. If they're older, wouldn't it be better?" Li Sun said enviously. He was indeed envious. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan had 4 younger brothers and sisters, but he didn't have any. Watching the little ones grow up under the careful care of their parents also gave him a sense of achievement. "Who put them up?" Zhang Xiaobao asked the 2 maidservants guarding here. In reply to Little Young Master, it was Little Miss Bell, who put them up. Just now, Belle accidentally took the bells down. Then, she climbed to a place where she could swing. She sat there and swayed for a while before hanging the bells on the rope. When the jingling sounded, Belle found something fun. She climbed to the other doors and took down 3 more bells. She hung them on the same rope. Later, she played with them and hung the 4 bells on 4 different ropes. The maidservants were also surprised and found it very interesting. "It seems that I have to find a way to cultivate their current thinking and actions. It turns out that they can take the initiative to think and arrange things at such a young age," Zhang Xiaobao said to Wang Wan with emotion when he saw the 4 little ones moving vigorously on the platform with the purpose of making the bells sound. Chapter 542. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan now had something to do. They were faced with a very profound problem. Is it because of curiosity, or because of the environment? Wang Wan raised 2 points. The first was easy to understand, but the second was to adjust the environment around the children as much as possible. They had to constantly create accidents. Could all the children have the initiative to analyze and act? Then let's add more toys to it. Let's see if they can still think of ways to make some kind of change. Yes, change. Take the bell from the door to the rope. If the first time was a coincidence, then the next 3 times would be impossible. Also, you see, they know that shaking the bell can make it ring, so they are exerting force on it. They may not know the principle behind the bell ringing, but they can observe. Very well, let them shake it. Perhaps they will learn to exert force in one direction after shaking it a little. Make a small swing, lower from the ground, and thicker. See if they know how to exert strength in one direction at the same time when they climb up to play. Zhang Xiaobao didn't know what kind of problems such big children could think about, but he knew that thinking was sometimes a habit. Since the 4 little guys showed it, then they had to be trained well. Li Sun came down from the ladder at this time and said to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, "It's really amazing. They can think of putting the bell on the rope to make a sound. Maybe both of you are born to be amazing. Zhang Xiaobao smiled and pulled Wang Wan along as he ran back. One reason was to let his parents come over to take a look. Perhaps the 4 little ones had not played enough. The other reason was to make other toys. I think we should make a simple little maze for them to play. When they can find the right way every time, we will make it a little more complicated. They will slowly get used to it. Wang Wan suggested. Okay, I will ask someone to do it later. The one in the amusement park is not good. It is too big, and it is not suitable for children to climb around. We should also design a kind of door. Make a password lock on the door, and use a big round ball as the password. As long as the ball is pulled in order, the door can be opened. First, 3, then gradually increase the number. Let them play. Zhang Xiaobao originally planned to take out such a game when the 4 little guys were 1 or 2 years old. It seemed that he should take it out now. He really didn't know whether it was because of the good genes, the influence of the usual environment, or nutrition. Not to mention him, even the scientists who specialized in studying babies couldn't figure it out. It was too complicated. While the mothers of the 2 families ran to check on the little babies, the 2 of them went into their own houses and started to design. 2 days later, the new toys were made. At this time, the people who were sent by the imperial court to replace Zhang Zhong arrived. There were more than 10 of them, and some of them were originally idle positions that were not assigned. Before these people came, they were very polite to Zhang Zhong. Perhaps they were instructed by the people behind them, so they were very polite to him. In fact, they had no choice but to be polite. When they arrived at the place after a hard journey, the scene they saw shocked them to their core. It was too beautiful. Being an official in a place like this was like being in a fairyland. Although they already knew that the construction here was good, when they saw it with their own eyes, they had a different feeling. When they came, there was a big difference between what they imagined and what they saw. The arrival of the officials meant that Zhang Zhong was leaving. Li Sun also didn't want to stay here any longer. After packing up, Old Man Chong and Old Man Pai also quietly boarded the ship at night. Then, they slowly left the dock. Zhang Zhong had gone through a parting once. He didn't want the people of Luzhou, or the people of Wulei County, who was closest to him, to line up to see him off like the people of Huayuan County. However, on the morning of the 2nd day after they left, when the local people found that the person in the yamen had been replaced, they immediately protested. They questioned the new provincial governor about where the good official had gone. It seemed that if the new provincial governor did not explain clearly, it would cause a revolt among the people. The people of Luzhou did not care about the new official. To put it bluntly, it was too easy for them to deal with the new official. They could just send their children in the army to arrest the new official. There was no way for them to reason with the new official. The mountain people would not stop them. They approved of Zhang Zhong more than the local people. In their eyes, there was only Zhang Zhong, not the emperor. When Zhang Zhong said that he would lead them to revolt, they would also nod their heads in agreement. This was especially true for a mountain person's child who was also on the ship. He was also Zhang Zhong's adopted son. This made the mountain people approve of Zhang Zhong even more. The new provincial governor was frightened. This was the first time he had encountered such a situation. In the past, he had been a county magistrate and a judge, but he had never seen any place where the people loved and respected an official so much. Today he had learned something new. The people's customs were indeed different. Helpless, he no longer cared about his dignity as a provincial governor. He told the whole story from beginning to end. When he saw the house where he had enjoyed the night before, he took the initiative to ask for a place to stay. The people were reasonable. They did not ask the new provincial governor to look for a place to stay. After all, a good official was rich and did not lack a house. Moreover, they hoped that the new provincial governor would treat them like a good official. After some discussion, they reached an agreement with the new provincial governor. As long as the new provincial governor did things like the previous provincial governor, he would be allowed to live in a house. If one day he had bad thoughts such as corruption or bending the law, then it was not just a matter of whether he could live in a house or not. He might not even be able to make it back alive. When they found out that the good official had left, the people were very disappointed. In the end, the new provincial governor came up with an idea. He asked the people to write a form of 10,000 people and had it sent to the capital. The people of Luzhou were delighted. They found a long piece of silk cloth. Those who knew how to write would write, and those who did not would leave their fingerprints. Even the children left their fingerprints with the help of the adults. They rolled it into a big bundle and had someone carry it to the Chamber of Commerce here. There were also merchants from the neighboring provinces in the Chamber of Commerce. When they found out about the situation, they also wrote their names. However, their names were different from the people's. They had to give their names to the people. After they wrote their names, they would write down the amount of money. The worst among them was at least 100 strings of cash. After they finished writing, they would take out the money. There were a total of 6 provinces around Luzhou. Including the merchants of the Chamber of Commerce, there were more than 700 people. Everyone's money amounted to 200,000 strings of cash, which was nearly 1,300,000 catties of copper coins. A fleet of ships could not carry all of them. The money was piled up like a mountain. The dozen or so new officials were frightened. The 10,000 people's forms of 10,000 strings of cash were given to them. What did Zhang Zhong do with all the people of Luzhou? No wonder he left secretly at night. If someone found out about this, they would probably send him off for a few days. No matter what their purpose was, at this moment, they could no longer compare themselves to Zhang Zhong. The new provincial governor came to Luzhou because he was greedy. However, when he saw the customs here and saw the gains after Zhang Zhong left, he wondered if he could get more money if he was not greedy. If he was greedy, he could lose his life here. He was no longer jealous of Zhang Zhong. When the gap was too big, he could not be jealous. News of what happened to Luzhou was sent to the capital by a messenger pigeon. Everyone who saw the news was moved. Although this was not the first time, the officials could not help but sigh. With the 10,000 people's forms, 200,000 strings of cash, and the longevity of the people of Luzhou, Zhang Zhong did not need to be evaluated. Nobody dared to give him a low grade, not even a medium grade. Otherwise, it would be easy for the people of Luzhou to cause trouble. Moreover, it was not only Luzhou. There was also Yaozhou, which was close to the capital, and Sanshui County, which had the annual rent and tax of 2 ordinary provinces. If it were someone else who received 200,000 strings of cash late, the officials would definitely think of a way to impeach him, saying that he was a corrupt official. After all, he had too much money. However, when it came to Zhang Zhong, no one said so. The officials had a rough idea of how much money the Zhang family had. It was a lot, so much that they could take out 110,000 strings of cash to build the road for the emperor. The more money one had, the more money one could get. Even if the officials were mentally unbalanced, there was nothing they could do. Even the emperor laughed and said that if anyone thought they were capable, there were still a few provinces over there. In the past, not to mention more than a year, even 3 years would be enough to catch up with the current Luzhou and come back for a promotion. The officials retreated one after another. It was not that they did not want to be promoted, but they did not have the ability. The Zhang family was not human at all. They had even suffered a disaster. Otherwise, they might have come back this summer. Zhang Zhong did not know many things had happened after he left. He could not tell what he was feeling now. He was a little reluctant and a little worried. After all, he had put in a lot of effort to build Luzhou. He did not know if the new provincial governor would treat the people of Luzhou well. In such a melancholy, he thought of his son and daughter-in-law. Since the two of them were not in a hurry, why should he be? He believed that his son and daughter-in-law were already prepared. Yes, that was it. Zhang Zhong looked at the night sky and thought so. Suddenly, he thought of his son's words, "The bright moon rises from the sea, and we share this moment from the end of the world." Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were also standing in front of the window of the cabin, looking at the stars and the moon in the sky. "It's so beautiful." "I think of another song," Wang Wan said faintly. "Don't tell me it's the song, Stargazing, from more than 100 years ago again?" Zhang Xiaobao felt that the song was a little sad. He did not like to listen to it, even though he had a different feeling every time he listened to it. No, a child shouldn't sing such a song. What I'm thinking is, there are countless stars in the sky, and the brightest one is me. I don't know where I came from, and I don't know. Xiaobao, let's go around Hainan Island, shall we? Shall we? Wang Wan suddenly asked after singing a few lines. Why? Isn't the Qiongzhou Strait closer? Zhang Xiaobao was puzzled. Question, first couplet, World's End. Answer, second couplet, Cape. That's right. I'm going to write there, Wang Wan said excitedly. Write to the ends of the earth? If you have such a hobby, we won't be able to finish writing even if we travel all day. There will be many famous places. Zhang Xiaobao reacted quickly. He immediately knew what Wang Wan was thinking. Forget it. We'll talk about it next time. I don't believe that anyone can write before me. Did anyone write at Panglai Pavilion in Shandong? If we keep going by sea and don't enter the canal from Zhujiang, we can reach there. Then, we can go by the Yellow River, Wang Wan said longingly. In winter, it was faster to come to Luzhou from the direction of the capital or from Shandong. However, it was troublesome to go back. There was a cold current. If they wanted to go faster, it was easy. They just had to move the ship horizontally toward the sea for a distance. Then, they would be able to encounter a warm current. However, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan did not want to go to Japan. Moreover, there were too many unknown dangers at sea. They had no choice but to go against the cold current. This time, Wang Wan did not mention going to Shandong anymore. They found a place where they could turn into the sea, and the fleet went in. After they were surrounded by land, the people on the ship felt much more comfortable. Those who were eager to return home increased the speed of their oars. The ship had enough supplies, and no one wanted to do any more business on the way. They did not stop at all until they reached the capital. Counting the days, only 40 days had passed. To Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, this speed could only be described with one word: slow. However, for those who had never reached such speed before, this was a miracle. There was still more than 10 days before the new year. It was enough for them to go home. The ship docked at the dock of the capital. Zhang Zhong heaved a sigh of relief. He took the things he needed and went to the palace to look for the emperor. Li Longji did not expect Zhang Zhong to come back so soon. He thought that he would only arrive after the new year. He was surprised because he had a deeper understanding of the propeller and the ship with wheels on both sides. An hour later, Zhang Zhong came out. In fact, he did not say much. He only asked about the situation on the other side and encouraged them. That was all. At this time, the ship was too big for them to sit on. The river was too shallow, and so were the boats. They could only rush back by carriage. The Zhang family and the Wang family wanted to spend the new year with their villagers. This year, they came quickly and coincidentally. They wondered what would happen next year. Zhang Zhong, who was sitting in the carriage, did not say anything. His face was flushed red, and he seemed very excited. Husband, is it difficult to meet the emperor? Jiang Wang Clan, who was sitting beside him, asked. Zhang Zhong finally regained his senses. He smiled and said, "It's not that it's difficult to meet the emperor. It's because I found out about Lu Zhou." He told her what happened on the second day after they left. Zhang Zhong leaned back in his seat and did not say anything. He only heard about it from the emperor. He did not know why other people were officials, but he wanted to let the people live a good life and gain the recognition of the people. This time, he received it. That was why he was so excited. Jiang Wang Clan was stunned when she heard this. Then she sighed and said, "It's worth it. Husband, you didn't do so many things for the people for nothing. As long as you have the 10,000 people watch, it's fine. Money isn't important." Zhang Zhong nodded and did not say anything else. The carriage was silent for a moment. However, before Zhang Zhong could digest what he had just heard, when the convoy arrived at Huayuan County, Zhang Zhong's unsettled emotions surged again. He did not know who leaked the news, but the people of Huayuan County already knew that Zhang Zhong had returned. When the convoy arrived at Huayuan County after 5 days, they could no longer move forward. The road ahead was blocked by the people. They stood in the cold wind and did not say anything. They just looked at Zhang Zhong's convoy. Zhang Zhong lifted the curtain and looked. He felt a headache coming on. However, he had to go down and greet them. As soon as they saw Zhang Zhong, the people crowded around him and greeted him one by one. Some wanted to ask what Lu Zhou was like. Some were concerned about where Zhang Zhong would become an official next. They did not even care if they could offend the current provincial governor of Yao Province. They directly advised Zhang Zhong to think of a way to return to Yao Province and become the provincial governor of Yao Province. When the people who did not know the details saw this scene, they were puzzled. They did not understand why so many people were here. After asking around, they looked at Zhang Zhong with a respectful gaze. It was easy to become an official. However, it was not easy to return after leaving for more than a year and still receive the support of the people. Among the people in the cold wind, only those who were closest to Zhang Zhong spoke. The others were silent. Even the 7 or 8-year-old children were sensible enough not to make a sound. Zhang Zhong had no choice. He found his megaphone again and shouted at the people around him. He told them that he was doing well and that he was doing well at Lu Zhou's place. He told them not to worry. Then, he asked the people to go home and celebrate the new year. He also wished them a happy new year. In fact, the people did not intend to do anything. They just wanted to see Zhang Zhong. When they saw that Zhang Zhong's family was fine, they were relieved. After all, it was cold outside. After they saw the 4 children who were suddenly carried back, they said some words of congratulations and dispersed. Zhang Zhong did not dare to leave, and he could not leave. He stood on the carriage and watched the people leave one by one. When all the people were gone, he climbed down and got into the carriage. He warmed his hands on the stove to prevent them from freezing. His hands and face were cold, but Zhang Zhong felt warm in his heart. Even he knew it was cold. How could the people not feel cold after waiting for so long? Husband, do you realize that being a good official is better than being a corrupt official? Justice is in the heart of the people. Jiang Wang Clan's eyes were red. Clearly, she was touched. Even if the emperor came, it would not be possible for so many people to welcome him unless he sent an army. But her husband had just returned home, and there were people waiting for him spontaneously. If this was not a good official, what was? Zhang Zhong also felt a sense of achievement. He sighed and said, "When I am old, I will tell my grandson that in the past. Fortunately, it is this era. If it was in our era, if there was an official who was loved like this, that official would be finished. Love and respect should be given to the leaders." Zhang Xiaobao said happily, "Why do I feel that you are always attacking the leaders? We are all serving the people. We are the servants of the people." Wang Wan had heard Zhang Xiaobao's complaints more than once. She felt that it was not good to be like this. "Forget it. Don't you feel embarrassed saying this? I am not attacking anyone. I am just telling the truth. This era is good. Taking advantage of the good times to do more things for the people, it is not a waste to walk around the world again. I am going to take advantage of the new year to start providing free medical treatment to the people of Sanshui County and Yaozhou. As long as they are local people, they will not have to pay to see the doctor. This is called returning the favor." Zhang Xiaobao was just saying. It was impossible for him to discuss more with Wang Wan. After all, Wang Wan had such a person in her family. Wang Wan thought for a while and said, "In fact, it has nothing to do with the officials. It is a problem of human nature. The people who live at the bottom of society will be a big official one day. If he becomes a big official, won't he know the suffering of the people? Can he be a good official? Anyway, if you want to treat the people of a county or a state for free, where will the money come from? We don't care about the money, but the problem is not how much money we have, but why and how to use the money. It's simple. We can use the money from gambling. We can't control the lottery, but we can control the gambling. We have to contact the local government, and the money we earn can be used for medical treatment. This is not strange. Many countries have free medical education. If others can do it, why can't we? It is not only in these two places. Lu Zhou will do the same in the future. Not only will the local people receive free medical treatment, but even the foreigners will also receive free medical treatment. The wool comes from the sheep. However, many people know that the wool comes from the sheep, but they insist on using the wool on themselves instead of the sheep. In the end, when the sheep dies, they have no wool to cut. Zhang Xiaobao did not care about money at all. He was very happy now. He was happy that he was born in this era. When he did good things, there was very little resistance. It was so small that there was no resistance. It was fine as long as he did not use his name to do good things. If he did not emphasize the donation to the court and insisted on mentioning his name, the court would accept the donation and use the money on the people. Very few people dared to be greedy for the money. It had nothing to do with the law. There was also something called morality. An official who violated the law was just following the rules. However, if his morality was exposed, the official could just commit suicide. You are still criticizing. Think about the current situation. Wang Wan could tell that Zhang Xiaobao seemed to be very dissatisfied with the people in the court. Why can't I talk about it? Now, I just want to grow up quickly. When the time comes, I will be the Prime Minister and universal compulsory education in the country, starting from the age of 4 until the age of 20. After that, medical treatment will be free. Zhang Xiaobao told her his dream. He felt that he was very noble. Sometimes, greatness was a kind of belief that encouraged him to achieve his goal. Wang Wan looked at Zhang Xiaobao for a while and said, "Your goal is good, but everything depends on people to carry it out. Can you guarantee that no one will make any mistakes in the process of carrying it out? Also, what's the point of education for so long? It's enough to know how to read. After all, not everyone needs to learn a lot of things. Why not? If I had received a good education when I was young, maybe now I can. Maybe you wouldn't have come here with me now. Then I still want to carry on and make it universal. The main reason is that many things can be passed down. Also, your understanding is wrong. Knowledge does not have to be used immediately. It is accumulated in life. When you think that it is very normal to know how to read and write, have you ever thought about the desire of people who don't know how to read? The simplest example is when a notice is posted. You know how to read, look up, and you leave because it has nothing to do with you. But what if you don't know how to read? You don't even know what the notice says. You have to ask someone else. When you use the simplest method to measure the distance, you may feel that it is very long. But do you know how many people want to measure the distance but don't know how to do it? The sky is blue because we have all learned that it is caused by the different wavelengths of light. But people in Tang don't know that. If they don't explore, they will live happily and ignorantly. But when someone really wants to explore, he will be very distressed because it involves too much basic knowledge. Ignorance is not terrible. What is terrible is that ignorance will cause you or others to lose their lives. At least we know the simple first aid method for carbon monoxide poisoning. You may not use it even once in your life, but when you really use it, it may save a life. Knowledge is the general knowledge summed up by predecessors. I have to persist. I must popularize education and add in various specialties to form a system. Zhang Xiaobao became a little crazy again. Wang Wan had already known about Zhang Xiaobao's illness. She nodded and said, "I actually support you, but what if your education in the future offends people's thinking? I don't want you to become Bruno. Copernicus is very smart. This is simple. Do you know Buddhism? When they started from India, it was not as comprehensive as what we know later. Later generations added in bit by bit. To what extent? It means that no matter how you question it, they have a reasonable explanation. Then we can take a method to integrate the current thinking with the knowledge we want to teach. The ruling class doesn't care about right or wrong at all. They care about whether or not their interests can be protected. All religions serve the purpose of war, but some people just don't admit it. People who believe in religions are easy to understand. They have lost themselves and seek external help. People who don't believe in other religions because they believe in themselves. We can give the ruling class confidence, and that is, no matter how we teach, we will protect the ruling class in the end. This is a matter for the future. Do you think we will be treated well when we go back? Zhang Xiaobao finally stopped talking about this kind of philosophy and contradiction. When Wang Wan heard Zhang Xiaobao say that they will be treated well, she nodded happily. Suddenly, she trembled a little and said, "Xiaobao, let's cook what we like to eat. I think when we go back to Zhangjia Zhuangzi, we will eat roasted chicken and smoked chicken. They will definitely ask us to evaluate their cooking. I don't want to." Zhang Xiaobao also reacted. Indeed, if he was an ordinary farmer, he would also take out his best smoked chicken when he saw that the master was back. It was too scary, too scary. Zhang Xiaobao could imagine that as long as he tasted the roasted chicken or smoked chicken made by one family, he would also have to taste the other families. Yes, it was good to eat this kind of thing occasionally, but he couldn't eat it continuously. Zhang Xiaobao's face turned pale immediately. He really could not imagine the consequences of eating so many chickens in a row. Wang Wan's expression changed as well. She nudged Zhang Xiaobao and said, "Xiaobao, you're the smartest. Think of a way." "Oh, yes, I'll think of one right away." Zhang Xiaobao agreed without hesitation. He frowned as though he was faced with a problem that was more difficult than fraud. When the group arrived at the main restaurant between the clouds and the water, the people from the Zhang family and Wang family who came to Luzhou finally relaxed. The other places were sealed by ice, but here, they could still see the clear water flowing. There was a layer of mist on the water, completely shrouding the restaurants between the clouds and the water. This scene had nothing to do with the natural world. It was purely an illusion. First, they had people shaving ice, sprinkling salt on the water on time every day, and then roasting it on the water with a charcoal brazier. Therefore, the water did not freeze, and there was still mist. It was the new year. The 3 Zhuangzi members of the Zhang family and a Zhuangzi farmer from the Wang family came back to celebrate. It was the same last year. As soon as the group moved out, the farmers who had been waiting there surrounded them. They did not ask questions like the people in Huayuan County. Instead, they just greeted them and started to carry things from the carts. The 4 Zhuangzi farmers from the Zhang family and Wang family were not the only ones who came. Even the farmers from the Gu family were here. It had been a long time since they last saw the main members of the Zhang family and Wang family. They did not care much about the Gu family. They were more concerned about the Zhang family and Wang family. A few days ago, they heard that the farmer from the Zhang family, Zhang Qiu, was beaten up. His bones were broken, and there was a big cut on his leg. It was swollen to the size of his waist. When they heard that the people who beat Zhang Qiu were from a big family in the south, they were scared out of their wits. Later, they heard that Zhang Qiu was treated and the whole family who beat him ran away. It seemed that the masters of the Zhang family and Wang family were still the original masters. Just like what they said on the 15th, they would light up the starry sky together. Today, they had to take a good look and see if the master of the Zhang family had gained weight or lost weight. Yes, he was not fat or thin, but he had become darker. The 4 little ancestors of the Zhang family and Wang family were also being carried by the young master and young lady. They were chubby and were strangely heavy. Zhang Xiaobao hugged his younger brother and sister. He stood beside the carriage and looked at his home. He had not been back for more than a year, but it felt like a century had passed. He did not know if the 4 little ones had telepathy or if they saw something fun at the same time, but they all giggled together. Xiao Bei kissed Zhang Xiaobao with her mouth that was still drooling. Zhang Xiaobao was kissed by his sister and could not wipe it away. He could only move his younger brother to his side. His face was full of saliva and his brother's clothes. Anyway, he had to wash them later. At this time, a farmer squeezed through the crowd and came over with a plate of roasted chicken in his hand. When he came over, a family member who had already been instructed immediately said, "In order to celebrate the arrival of the new year and to celebrate the new year with the farmers, the main family abstained from meat and fish until the 30th. The people in the inner courtyard will follow suit. Oh, there's even roasted chicken. It's a pity that it can't be eaten." Zhang Xiaobao thought of the plan that the people in the inner courtyard had just mentioned. If he did not have foresight, his family would be finished. You're tuning in to the Narrate and Escape YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.